Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Logical Optimism. And joining me is my beautiful co host, Nugi, and our amazing guest, ZiggyD. Thanks so much for being here.
G'day, mate.
Well, sorry, it's a little bit early here. Still warming up throat. How's it going? How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
It's
Doing
like
good.
early for you, right?
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. Pretty early for me. I tend to sleep until about midday, so yeah, a bit early.
Oh, yeah.
Training me for the league start. It's all good.
That's good. Exactly. We're just like getting used to the long hours.
Yeah, that's it.
So our topics for today is we're going to talk about the Legion League, which is the league that's starting tomorrow, also called the Melee League. Should be a lot of fun. Topic 2, going to be patch notes. We're going to talk a little bit about the major changes. And topic 3, we're going to talk a little bit about builds and recommendations that is going to be good for the upcoming Legion League. So,
Mm-hmm.
you've been streaming already today, Nugi. Did you have a nice stream?
I'm streaming all day. Oh, I had a wonderful stream.
That's
Tons of
awesome.
people just asking about builds and what are we gonna make and ideas and let's do this thing, do that thing. Don't take that node, take this node instead. You shouldn't go to the right, always go to the left.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's been
cute.
good.
And there was I think there was a gem reveal today, right?
Was there gem reveal?
Yeah, wasn't there gems got posted?
Oh, you mean yeah. I mean
Yeah.
all the gems
Yeah,
were
I
revealed.
haven't
Yeah.
seen them.
I thought there was a new one. I was like, wait, what? Wait, where is this gem?
Yeah. And Ziggy, I'm guessing you haven't done much today, so did you sleep well?
No, I never sleep well when I have things to do in the morning. I'm like, oh, I gotta get up. Better get to sleep as soon as possible. It's like 4 a.m. I'm like, oh, I better get to sleep as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I'm always so excited.
Could you
I'm
fall
alright,
asleep?
I got this. No, I did all right. Thanks, though. Thanks for asking. It's very kind of you guys. Oh, sweet.
It's the dream team. It's gonna be so fun to hang out with both of you at ExileCon.
Hell yeah.
Looking
Looking forward to
that.
it.
Yeah. But let's start off discussing Legion League. So for those of you who don't know, Legion League is the one coming up now, and it's featuring monoliths that you can sort of click on, and they'll spawn loads of monsters, and then you have to unlock them, and after a certain duration, you have to fight them. Depending on how much you've unlocked, that's how dangerous the encounter is gonna be. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that now. Are you guys excited for the league?
I'm very excited.
I'm like mostly excited for the melee changes and core system changes, mostly more than
Yeah.
anything. The league itself looks like it. I don't know. I'm unsure because on paper it sounds really good. They're like, this is Breach with better player control over how many mobs you fight and the density and what mobs you fight and when you take it on and all that sort of stuff. So on paper that sounds really good, and also like the expanded version of Breach's endgame with the Breach Stones, but you like combine them together into a big battle. That sounds pretty epic. I do like when mobs fight each other, but the flip side of that though is it going to actually be fun to like break them out physically compared to just fighting them straight up? So like there's an extra step there. Is that extra step just at the fundamental level fun? And that's a difficult question to answer before playing it.
Exactly.
Has it been? I think a question would be to ask: has it been fun before? I don't think it's that far away from what we had before in terms of breaking things out and then doing it and
like
feeling
Essence?
fine. No, I mean just in general, like even Abyss, like just pretty much all mechanics have some kind of weight to them. I mean, I know you're not fighting them immediately. You're like halfway fighting them, but you sort of are.
I don't know. I feel like this is a first because everything's like you're kind of fighting waves of stuff that's fighting back. In this case, you're fighting stuff that's not fighting back, which is PoE in a nutshell. Am I right? Am I right? But
You see that.
in this case, you're actually kind of it could be more like damaging a door for fortifications.
Yes, that's what
Is
I'm
it like
worried
fighting
about.
a fortification door? Because if so, that's not good. I mean, I'm optimistic that it'll actually be fun to do. It'll be like satisfying to chunk them out. So yeah.
I can see. So I'm very, very scared of the mechanic, obviously. Most of the league, I'm like, oh my god, this looks amazing. But a mechanic like this is something that like I would rather be like more of a rare thing, right? Where you're like, oh, they're frozen in time or whatever, and you have to unlock them. But having to do this every single map, every single area, I'm very worried that I'm going to get very bored of unlocking the monsters all the time. But obviously, that's very hard to like say anything about before we try it. But just on paper, it's it's scary, right?
Yeah, I wonder if for like you guys who zoom it up all the time, whether it'll be something you'll want to engage in that much, because it seems like the timers are fairly long on it on the initial phase, and I don't think we ever
Yeah.
got an answer on whether there'd be a way to like force finish it. So you might be hitting your essence drain contagion and killing everything in the packs, and then kind of waiting for a bit before you can fight them. You gotta like go kill some other stuff, come back when they pop out.
Yeah, and
But will you though? Will you wait? Like you'll just run away somewhere else in the map and kill that.
it
And then there's a
depends if
timer
it's
saying when you need to be back, you know?
right. Yeah,
I mean, for
similar
all
to
the
Breach.
zoomers, they'll find a way.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
That's
what I
true.
reckon. Probably something like that.
I mean, most likely, I usually never interact with the league mechanic early, because generally I'm racing, and most league mechanics, especially early game, aren't worth it. And while racing, just there's been a lot of league
Yeah.
mechanics that I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish the race, and then I'm gonna go play with the league mechanic. But I don't know. I think the main reason I'm worried is, for me, Incursion was probably my favorite league ever for 2 weeks. Like the first week or so,
Yeah.
first 2 weeks of Incursion was so fun. I was like, this is such a cool mechanic, and I was still figuring it out, and I still had like hopes for the architects doing anything. The Roomba, like, maybe that was just a bug that was the boss. I still had hopes, But then 2 weeks after, I was like, I don't like Incursion at all. But the first 2 weeks of Incursion, so good, especially with the double corruption chamber. And when a mechanic that fun gets boring fairly quickly, then I'm very scared about the unlocking. It's just, yeah. But so many other mechanics that they've showed, like the way we can so for those of you who haven't been paying attention to the new mechanic, they drop splinters similar to Breach, and once you amass enough of them to make a Breach stone, I don't know what they're called, then you can make a stone, and instead of you can put one, I believe, as well into the map device, but you can put up to 5 at the same time to be like fighting bigger battles. Emblems, that's it. So that sounds super cool. I'm like edge of my seat hype for this. This is like one of the coolest mechanics I've even heard of, because I love the sort of like mix and match and dynamic content that gives the options for. Oh,
Yeah,
you
the
have to
battle's
put
gonna
in
be
at
sick.
least 2.
Yeah, I think the battles will be sick. That's always been my favorite thing in games, when you like come across factions fighting each other. Ever since back like in random encounters in Fallout 1, where you're like scrolling through the map and you come across some like traders fighting raiders off, and you're like, then go in and kill everyone and take all their stuff. It's kind of the same thing. But something I'm excited for is, because something I hate about Breach, I think Breach overall is a pretty big winning mechanic, but I don't think it's without its flaws. And one of the big flaws is like you kill everything in a big circle, and then it drops splinters all over the place in a big circle, and you got to like go back around and pick up the stuff, or like try and awkwardly pick it up and fumble for it as you're fighting, which is a pain in the ass. But it looks like the Legion splinters will be stacking when they drop off of a single enemy. Like if an enemy drops like 10 of them, they'll stack up. So that's pretty exciting. So they should be more like localized, because it'll be like a specific enemy or a specific chest or something that will drop them. They won't just be off everything randomly like the alpha breaches. So it should be a lot nicer.
Yeah, I'm
That does sound
very
good.
excited. But and this is something that's very particular and special with Path of Exile, because regardless of the league itself, let's say the league itself is a complete failure, at least for me, like, balance changes and just general game optimizations are so exciting anyway, right? We have the animation canceling is coming, and we have lots of melee changes, and there's just so many cool general changes. So at least for my part, if Chris was like, sorry guys, we have nothing, we're just resetting the economy, I'd be like, I'm still playing.
That's it, ultimately.
I just think that Legion, the league itself, brings a little bit more though, in terms of when we got Incursion. Because Incursion, we had like a few uniques, and then I don't know. I don't know if you would agree, but I feel like Incursion had really weak uniques in general and just item drops. Apart from like the occasional interesting, like rare you would get, like for the early game leveling or a ring with like minus mana cost or % life. I mean, that was nice, but it wasn't really interesting. I mean,
See,
this
I'm
brings
trying to
like
think
all
about
the
them all
new
now.
jewels, and we know how strong they are, interesting.
They
I
were
think that
fairly
itself,
interesting
like, made me
though.
more.
I'm trying to think of all of them. So like the boots were fairly good. They were like, but they
Oh,
were
we're
more
talking Incursion.
niche. Yeah, I'm thinking about all the Incursion uniques. There was some string of
Oh,
servitudes,
really
and I think that was a cool item. I do like those.
But it was just like not very strong. Like it was not something that people really ended up using though.
I used the attack speed and movement speed ones a lot. I agree, and a lot of people use the rarity one quite a lot.
I don't
Or
know.
sorry, not
I don't-
rarity, not rarity. I'm talking about the resist one. You have
Yeah.
oh no, I don't know. I'm actually gonna disagree here. You like Chop's listing out as well. You have Apex, the shield, that's really strong.
Sure.
Oh, Apex.
You
was
have
Incursion armor.
the low life
Mhm.
belt, that's really strong as well in a lot of builds.
Yeah.
The
It is,
the blood
but-
magic gloves for traps, I use that a lot that league. You also had the Surface Amulet. So like there's a lot of cool uniques in my opinion.
I mean, the service
Soul
arrow was just a
Ripper?
glorified headhunter.
Yeah, but why isn't
so
that
the flash was interesting, but that was just because they just had killed the volumes. It didn't really enable like a new thing. It was just like, oh, let's just do that again, which was what we just had the leaks before.
But how many uniques do you want though? That's a lot of uniques I just listed, and a lot of them are pretty interesting.
I didn't really find them that interesting.
That's fair.
They weren't like Breach interesting. I think Legion has more interesting stuff there that I'm looking forward to like farming for. And then the randomization of that as well. Of like getting the jewels. I think that'll allow for better replayability at least.
I agree that I'm more excited for the jewels than anything that Incursion has. I'll agree with that.
And it's more like in that vein I would, because it's not like there wasn't anything in Incursion.
Right.
There's a lot of good things there, and I really do enjoy Incursion items. It's just I'm pretty damn excited for what Legion has to offer.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, no, there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff. I wonder how dangerous it's gonna be. Because I don't know how you guys feel about this, but a lot of times, like the league mechanic has just been like killing everybody at the start.
True. Yeah, I'm sure there will be some moments like that. Because it looks like a lot of the Legion monsters are kind of new in some capacity as well, like new auras or new skills and stuff like that. They're not just kind of existing monsters. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be some stuff in there that will kill us.
Yeah. What
We good?
league are you playing this league, Ziggy?
I typically start leagues with softcore nowadays. I used to swap it up each league, but these days I'm starting softcore for content making. And then do like solo self-mount or something later.
Nice, that makes sense. What about you, Nugi?
SSF hardcore.
By the way, nice.
By the way, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I think let's talk a little bit about what each of our individual plans and goals in Legion are. I think that's a good. And then after that, we can talk a little bit about tips for new players. So, Ziggy, do you want to start us off? What your goals for Legion are?
Usually my goals are focused on like league mechanics, trying to explore those as much as possible, and then like make guides and help people understand freaking confusing mechanics like last league with synthesis. But I feel like Legion won't have that much to explore apart from like finding cool jewels and then finding places for them and stuff like that. And that is very build oriented. So I think my goal for this league is because I don't race to 100. If you guys haven't watched me before, I'm never racing 100. Fuck that. But yeah, I think this time it'll be more about like exploring the like core mechanics changes to melee as much as possible and builds. I probably for the most time for as long as I can remember, this is a league that I've had like so many things I want to play. You know, I want to play Cyclone. I want to play 5 different other melee builds. I want to do like a bow slayer. I want to do something with chieftain. I want to do something with some of the new keystones, like a free mana cost, that energy shield, damage bypasses energy shield keystone thing. And I'm like, there's so much stuff there that I want to do. So I'm probably going to be building it up this league, I think. That seems to be my goal.
That's really cool.
exploring all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, your synthesis guide last league was invaluable for me because I obviously was going very fast and didn't really bother interacting much with the mechanic. Finally, somebody linked me a video. I watched it while eating, and I was like, "Oh, this makes so much more sense now." Fuck. Because
I am a little sad that like I won't probably have an opportunity to do something like that again because I don't really think there's going to be much of Legion that needs explaining. It's like kill the guys and do the battles, guys.
Ziggy's new
Here's the
video:
battles.
clicky this, kill this, go. Yeah.
Yeah, I bias towards the more complex league mechanics now, but you know I've been playing PoE for 20 years, so at this point, the more complex, the better. But
Yeah.
I understand. I definitely understand, though, guys, that is not everyone's taste, or even most people's taste.
Yeah. No, it's nice when there's something for everyone. And Nugi, what are your plans? What are you aiming for?
I mean, I'll try and go for first 100 on the melee, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, it's a bit of a
Badass.
stretch, but I mean, we'll give it a real good whack at it, and then after that, see what we have in the bank in terms of items and how many splinters we have left. Because I think during the actual run, however much I want to, I'm probably not gonna do the whole 5. What are they called again? The completed
Emblems.
things. Emblems. I probably won't do like a 5 emblem boss while I'm like racing. It's probably a bit ambitious, hoping to live that with no info. So I'll probably have like a lot of things like stored up to make builds around, and just make a lot of builds.
And are you
have
gonna
fun.
stay SSF after the race as well? Or does that
Honestly,
depend?
I don't know. I kind of this league I'm kind of tilting towards not. I would say, because I just want to do any build I kind of feel like doing this time.
Yeah.
I don't have any aspirations of beating the game on Solar Cell Found this time. I just want to do fun builds, all sorts of variations, and I don't want to really hold myself back by forcing myself on SSF. Not this time.
And you're still on the no shave to 100 challenge, right?
Yes. Oh yes. So if you're wondering why is this beard so scuffed and the neck beard is like sitting here, yeah, we're in a no shave to 100. So
You've seen Castaway with Tom Hanks, right?
yeah, I have.
So that's like you in like a month or two then, right? No, just kidding.
I mean, if I keep dying, it's gonna be rough. So
Yeah.
hopefully I won't die too much.
Let's hope so. My plans for the Legion as well is obviously SSF hardcore, and I've seen a couple of people are a little questioning if Method's going to be like a group push. We're pushing individually for this one. What I would like to focus on would be more of like a group found thing, which we obviously there's no official stuff for that, but we'll be trying to push that as like separate races, probably shorter ones as well, because obviously the 100 races can be very taxing. But we'll see if we can get some group races, maybe with limited time you're allowed to play per day as well, because there was a lot of people suggesting that, and that could be pretty fun to try out, where you're only allowed, instead of everyone doing 30-hour pushes, maybe you're only allowed to do 12 or 16 hours per day, which is a big change. So we'll see if we can get something like that fixed out. And yeah, I also want to do SSF hardcore. I really want to play melee. I am probably going to be a little bit of a bitch and not play melee as my starter. There's a couple reasons for this. I talked a little bit to Steel as well, and he made some good points. Like Contagion ED was pretty much the same strength as Winter Orb last patch. Now Winter Orb has been nerfed, and regardless of if you think that Winter Orb is going to be useful still or not, I think it might be useful with like an Assassin Autobomber thing, but obviously that's super squishy. And outside of that, Contagion ED is 100% kind of beat it, right? So with Bex confirming that Contagion is going to bounce between the new mechanic, it's going to be really hard to beat with anything. Maybe like Ellie hit, maybe KB can beat it, but that's going to require a lot more gear. So
maybe melee?
I'm not seeing it. It doesn't seem realistic, but we'll see. I mean,
okay, that's fine.
I feel like it's a safer choice. It's definitely going to be strong. Definitely going to be strong. Unless Bex is lying to us, and then I'm going to be sad. And obviously, for me, the most fun thing for me is to try to win the race. So I'm doing anything I can to try that.
Yeah.
And the build I want to play the most this league is Cyclone. That's That's what I want to play the most. I love Cyclone.
You've been a big Cyclone fan, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I have the Undisputed Divination card, just to try to make a better Valax.
I never really
What can
liked Cyclone before, but I actually want to play it now. Looks good.
I want to see you
Yeah.
craft a good axe, Ziggy. I'd love to watch that.
Oh, okay.
That's my challenge to you this league, Ziggy. To farm
Somewhat disputed axe. That's what I'm gonna
I
craft.
want you to hand in. I want to get a clip of you handing in an undisputed set and then crafting at least the 600 PDPS axe. That's my Ziz quest for you this league.
Okay.
Do you accept?
All right. Could be the league for it.
Do you accept the challenge?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah?
there's enough builds that I could play with that. Sure.
All right, it's accepted. Awesome. I'm excited. Oh wait,
Remind me, 'cause I'll
600 is very
forget.
low now, isn't it?
Yeah, if you want to make the real good
That's
axe,
all right.
and
Achievable
even
goals.
if
I
you even
forgot.
just want a multi-mod one, you should get an Elder Axe this league.
Yeah.
And just get the Fortify mod. It's actually insane.
Yeah. I wonder how
Upgrade
much you need to
Fortify.
beat that now. Because that's level 20 fortifies a what multiplier?
34?
30, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Surely they'll change that. I have to imagine that they'll change that because like two-handers
Why?
and chest armors and that, and are balanced around the supports being like just throwaway supports. I mean, they're not going to give you a 30% more multiplier as one of the possible supports, surely.
Why not?
Surely. I mean, maybe they forget. But I feel like that would be what it is. They just forget to change it.
Vicious Proj, and they're trying to help two-hand melee. So why would they
Okay,
remove it? I'm like,
It's
I don't
true.
see why.
Maybe they let it through.
Yeah.
Maybe let it through. For that reason.
Yeah.
They'll nerf it next league. You can have it this
Yeah.
league.
When we have our ES spellcaster meta next league.
Dude, I'm just looking forward to all the comments being like, oh my god, it's so boring with everyone melee. Why does no one play spell builds anymore? Like, why is no one playing Stormbrand? All these stupid
So
racers
true.
playing melee.
So true.
It's gonna be beautiful. It's very interesting, actually, though. What's the racing meta gonna be now? Like, it's gonna be interesting. Is it still gonna be Stormbrand?
Stormbrand, when I was looking at the changes, I was
Nah.
thinking it's probably still going to be pretty good for racing. I am really hoping we get like a bit of a melee meta shift for racing, though. I'd be excited to cast that.
Yeah,
A bit like the good old days.
that'd be fun. Yeah, you've been like, I loved watching you casting. That's really good. You guys do a great
Thanks,
job
dude.
of it.
Super
Yeah.
fun. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. Right. I think to finish off topic 1, I think we should like all do a couple of tips and tricks for new players. I mean, especially depends if you're SSF or if you're Trade League. We can have Nugi. Would you start us off with some SSF tips?
Some SSF tips.
SSF tips, Nugi. You're like the master.
Oh, but I mean, I don't know where to start. I don't have a list. I haven't really. Oh shit. I don't know. I mean, at what point? Let me think. Oh, right. I actually have a really. This is like probably one of the biggest tips I can give you for SSF, especially because of melee. It would be incursion, rings, and betrayal mods for minus mana cost. Since all the melee builds that we're making right now have fairly low mana cost, it's very easy to get them down to like very low base values, right? So we get them down to like 5 and below. And at the same time, all the new auras accumulate to about 90% 90% reservation. So you end up with these builds with like 30 to 50 unreserved mana, and it's really hard to manage. So make sure to unlock the minus mana cost betrayal mod and look for incursion rings. This is like it'll change your life in terms of like, oh, how do I solve my mana problem? So that's like one tip I could give.
I like that. That's actually pretty good. ZiggyD.
Long term, you're pretty set with mana leech and a lot of setups. But like you said, the new mana kind of reservation point we're hitting
Yeah.
is a good tip. I like it.
Mm.
For me, I'll get a little one first for you. It looks like from reviewing the footage that so there's like actually crap loads of monsters spawning with the Legion pylons, the monoliths.
Mhm.
And if you're a normal player, not like someone cheating and playing Essence Strain Contagion where they're killing everything anyway and you don't worry about it and you literally don't engage with the league mechanics. then for the rest of us, it looks like the guys with the stuff above their heads is the most important thing, but particularly the chests. And I noticed that when you kill the chests, it actually unlocks all the monsters around them. So if you're hitting the goal things in each of the encounters, so you got like regular monsters, and just you can hit them and unlock them one by one, or a few at a time. Or you can hit some of those like special mechanic ones that give extra rewards, like whether it be like divvy cards or extra item drops or the actual Legion splinters. Then you can unlock actually groups of mobs by doing that anyway. So if you're playing a more focused build, which a lot of us are because we're playing melee, so you're going in there with like your cleave or whatever, you can actually go in and still not be like so far behind because you're like slowly cleaving packs down. Focus on those like core things, and you'll as a part of that unlock a bunch of stuff. So that seems to be like it'll be the way to go, because I think that they have specifically designed this league mechanic with melee in mind, in the sense that we're going to be engaging with the mechanics. For everyone else who's not engaging with the mechanics, it's not a problem, and they play PoE like normal. But they seem to have given some thought to at least how we engage in it for people that actually are. So that's my short tip.
I feel attacked. Okay,
Sorry,
my number one tip, and this is actually, I want this to stay within the podcast. Don't tell anyone else. This is just for you guys right here. Is don't get hit. And read your maps. There might be a reflect on there. You might not see it the first time you read it. You might not see it the second time you read it. I never see it. Sometimes it's just not appearing for me. Genuinely, I think one of the most important tips for me, and this is especially, well, only for Trade League, and that is to use the Whoop feature on PoE Trade. I've got a quick guide about that too, but it's basically once you've searched for something, you can say automatically alert you if that comes up for sale. And the best things to do with this is to figure out what are some good jewels for your build, because day 1, day 2, you might be able to get 3 stat jewels for like 1 to 5C, which they might later on be like 20 to 40. So you can save a lot of money there. If there's any uniques you really need, set up a Whoop for that as well. Whoop. And finally, if you there's a lot of divination cards as well that you can think like, I want to go for the Dapper Prodigy card really early. People will be getting those from diviners even if they're not necessarily farming the map, and a lot of people will just be looking to move things and sell things cheap. So you can get some like really expensive stuff for relatively cheap. I know like a lot of players like Dan and stuff managed to get a lot of like what 1 or 2 weeks in equates to like a 30-40x build you can get on day 1 or 2 for like a lot less. A lot less. You save so much money by trying to buy it early. So that is, in my opinion, the best thing to do early on. Obviously, it doesn't really help you much, that's the stuff. Just makes you sad seeing all these things appear up for sale.
So with the Atlas changes, they like shift around the maps and everything. That changes like the divination card distribution usually as well, and has a bit of an impact on that. For you guys who have reviewed that, I think that you did a guide on or something, Ziz. Did you notice anything interesting divination cards that will be available, like low level maps or something that isn't normally? Maybe not, but
Not really. Most of the early ones I'd farm for are like pretty high up now. Like Residence is probably the most farmable card.
Yeah.
Volcano as well is like tier 10 to ship to 15.
What cards are those?
King's Heart for Clum's Heart. And
Yep.
Dapper Prodigy is the 6 ink item level 100 card.
Yep.
And there's a couple of new interesting ones that we don't know where drops. Like I believe there's a Farrell's Fur card now.
Yes.
Yeah. Carcass Jack card. What channel's tier 4 now, I think? That's
Maybe.
really nice to farm early on. Because
Yeah,
you
it
get
is.
the Carcass Jack card off the Beetle
Bird.
Fly boss thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So there's
Soul.
a lot, and there's the Sulfite card. So
Alright. We don't know where that drops either, right?
Imagine if that drops in Delves and allows just like Delves sustained from delving.
Oh, could you imagine?
GG is like, Chris is like, we're not giving you infinite sulfite. And he's like, hey,
But-
hey. And then we actually
yeah.
play and find that.
I have a veteran tip here
Oh yeah.
that people might have forgotten. Yeah, you can turn off help tutorial stuff now.
Mm.
Ah, nice.
Yes. For anyone who's ever been annoyed, you can actually turn that off now. For new players, maybe don't turn it off. But yeah. Put
Yeah,
that out
that
there.
is so annoying when it keeps popping up while racing. Pops up at a bad time, and you're like, I didn't want to open the help panel right now, Chris. God. So pretty happy that that's gone. But yeah, awesome. Let's move on to topic 2 and talk about the massive, girthy patch notes. They were long. They took
It's
a lot of time to read. I think I read through them pretty fast, and that was like 4 hours, I think.
I think I took 8.
Wow.
Jeez.
Wow.
I have a tendency to like get sidetracked easily though, so I wasn't just reading. I'm not that slow.
I tried to make a 5-minute summary video, and it was 9 minutes.
That's still pretty good going.
It was a solid effort, though. Trust me, and that's leaving a lot of stuff out.
Wow. No, that's really good. I actually started doing that, and then I realized I'd read 60% without taking any notes, and I was like, nah, I'm not making... Nah. Check ZiggyD's video out for that. It's good. But yeah, no, was there, like, we'll start with Ziggy. Like, what was the main thing that stood out to you? Was there anything you, like, were really surprised about?
Ease up. What was I really surprised about? I was very pleasantly surprised about how they went with multi-strike. I was very happy to see that because I was worried with like the new change to animation canceling that just like multi-strike is just a pure attack speed thing where it actually doesn't lock you in anymore, and the ability to animation cancel out of it. It's just like what makes sense with multi-strike now, because that doesn't make sense with multi-strike. Like just using it. It's just like a better, faster attacks. Just call it greater, faster attacks. So I was very happy to see that they made it like a combo system sort of thing, where each successive hit that you dedicate yourself to, commit to, since you can cancel out, rewards you with big fat damage. So I like the look of multi-strike a lot. What else really stood out to me? Molten Strike getting shredded was, I think, made a lot of sense, given that I looked at the stats for last league for just like, I'm like, pull up Jug. How many percent, what skill percent distribution are people using on Jugs? 69% of Jugs, no joke, using Molten Strike.
Wow.
So I'm like, no one's gonna use any of the other skills, and some of them look so juicy now if they don't nerf multi-strike. So they I'm glad that they did that. Oh, melee splash, man.
See,
Melee splash shotgun.
it's funny you should say that, because, and Nugi would probably back me up on this, but Nugi normally accuses me of, as long as the skill is strong, I will always play it, regardless of how fun it is, right?
Yes.
But I can't fuck it. I played Molten Strike for like a level. I switched into it and I was like, nah, fuck this. Like, it was killing everything. It was so strong, I just can't stand it. I hate the skill with a passion. I just can't, like, not even a full level.
To be fair, sis, there were other options available, so you didn't need to play it. I mean, you could just play, your RF. I mean, for what you wanted to do, it was for like Uber elder farming, right? It's usually used for like bossing.
I tried it for mapping and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's not really where it shines. And then you have better options, right? Then you play ED and Winter Orb.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I do like my Righteous Fire. I think there's...
Yeah.
I actually didn't... It was 2 leagues ago I didn't play RF, but generally I have one every league. I probably won't this league. But yeah, it's just... I don't know.
I mean, sure. I will grant you that there are probably skills that are just so far out of your comfort zone that even though they're strong, you won't play them.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. What about you, Nugi? What stood out to you?
I mean, I like their overall, just the overall changes to melee skills, to caster skills, to... It's just been good patch notes. It's just one good feature after another I'm looking at. I can't really say I'm not pleased with everything. I'm like trying to like through here, and it's
pleased with Energy Shield?
That was I'll say this, Energy Shield, and I strongly believe this will be the strongest build again this league. It's just gonna require more. Right? It's gonna be the 5% of the people who are even gonna bother with it And I mean, they're gonna have a hard time finding the items because it's not like something a lot of people are creating. But at the end of the day, like, we still have Guardian. Guardian's gonna
Yes.
be. I mean, ES is just gonna be. It's gonna be the strongest build again
Okay.
for those who actually bother like really investing into it.
That's actually where it's always been, though, regardless of what
is.
else is going on.
Yeah.
So that's like unchanged.
See,
And the int nodes for Hawa.
the main thing that I'm unhappy about there is I feel like, for people like Dan and Embu, they're probably always going to make it work, right?
Yeah.
Because they're going to
exactly.
invest really hard into it. And
Yes.
it has a higher cap for investing. I am really sad that this is mostly going to screw over people who are like, oh yeah, I tried my first CI build last day. I had really fun. I had 7,000 or 8,000 ES and it was so fun. Now they are like a lot less. Like they already had a hard time to get it going. Those people are definitely going to struggle now more. You don't have like the, what do you call those things for a bicycle? Training wheels. You don't have the occultist training wheels
yeah,
anymore.
you don't. Yeah.
And it's definitely
Yeah.
harder for those people.
Yeah.
I feel that energy shield balancing in PoE, like I said in one video, is very like, there's
Yeah.
very little in between.
Yeah.
It hasn't been like, oh, energy shield is a good option. So is life. It's always been like, energy shield is amazing. Or energy shield requires shit tons of investment, but then it's good. So
See, that's where I'm at. When I read the balance manifesto, they said they're replacing some energy shield percentage nodes with flat energy shield. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's great.
Yes.
They're like making it more accessible at the bottom end, but less powerful at the top
That's
end.
what I
And then I
want.
look at the passive tree and it's 10 AES. I'm like,
okay.
the
yeah.
fuck?
Okay.
That's not more accessible.
And-
it's literally noob bait nodes.
Yeah.
the worst part is I feel like it's sort of insulting because if you literally just leave the or the witch start with the 2 int nodes there, you're
Yeah.
getting more energy shield, and
Yes.
that is just insulting. I actually thought that it was a mistake and that they meant to just nerf it from 12% ES to 10, but no, they meant to nerf it to 10 flat. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like I can most likely divine an item and get 4 starter nodes. What is this?
And like you said, occultist made energy shield builds really accessible for a lot of new players, and I can definitely test that. Like I made like the Vortex Cold Snap occultist, which was played by a ton of new players, and they're like, this is one of my first builds and also one of my first CI builds, and I'm like, wow, you never would have seen that in the past. Someone playing like one of their first builds as a CI build and having a good time with it. Never in PoE's history.
Yeah.
The only upside to all of this is that now we can play an occultster or a tricultist with the Wicked Ward on the tree. With Trickster seems like it'll be pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
See,
Ooh,
I
I like the way that combos too,
Yeah.
like evasion dodge and Wicked
Yeah.
Ward stuff. It's like, ooh, I like that.
It is pretty cool. I mean, I've given Occultist a lot of shit and been memeing. I got a very popular tweet lately where I just said, Occultist, lol. So I've bullied Occultist quite a lot. How I'd say Occultist is still a good ascendancy.
Yeah.
Just not so much for energy shield specifically.
Yeah.
Because obviously you have Malediction's really strong, Profane Bloom, and a lot of the other ones. It's just, the whole Wild Bastion thing. Just the energy shield ones. It's just been like, what's the word? It's been amputated a little bit, the skill tree. I was
Yeah.
surprised they didn't replace it with something else. But I think what more surprised me was what they did to Elementalist. Because that's just
Oh.
a garbage
Oh,
ascendancy now. It's worse than Raider somehow.
Just anyone who doesn't know what he's talking about, just hover. If you just go into find a path of building somewhere or a way that shows the new skill tree, and just hover over Beacon of Ruin.
I'll show them.
Yeah, show them. Oh no. Oh.
Like,
it's
what
just
is
sad.
this? What is this? Chills from your hits always reduce action speed by 10%, 20% more damage with Ignite, and shocks always increase damage taken by 15%. That looks like a notable on the tree.
So if you think about everything they said about the Elementalist, like on one hand, server performance with Proliv, Shock was giving too much. I was like, yeah, on a single note, like on a base, like on a case by case basis, you could make an argument for just removing it. But when they just go ahead and just do everything, it just gets a
Yeah.
little extreme, right? Because the shock, why did the shock need to be nerfed? They just removed Prolift. I don't understand.
I do feel like they're a bit heavy-handed with a lot of the nerfs.
Yeah.
I mean, Mastermind of Discord still a good note. And you can still do a Golem, Golem Elementalist, right? It's still useful for that, just nothing else.
Only Golem answer. Yeah, I laughed so hard when I read the manifesto because the wording of it was very much like Elementalist is having this removed for now. Its Prolif is being removed for now. And then I'm like, what about in the meantime, guys?
Play something
like,
else.
We'll fix it, and then we'll do something later.
Do you know?
What about in the meantime?
It's sort of like, you know, at like theme parks and stuff, it'll just say like under construction or being refurbished. It's like that. Elementalist is being refurbished. Come back later.
Basically. We should just put a sign on
Yeah.
it. Work in progress.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other things that we can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely true. It's not honestly. They could put like 3 or 4 ascendancies under construction and just disable them for a league, and we still have so much stuff to play. It's ultimately not that big a deal. It's just kind of funny.
How about
kind of funny to rage about?
How about Essence Strain Contagion? Were you guys surprised about that?
I'm surprised there was no change.
I was a bit, yeah.
Hmm.
Because considering like Bane got nerfed as well, 10% nerf for that. I was like, I would have expected it. Because I thought actually, like, I played Bane and comparing it to like Vortex Cold Snap, which also escaped any sort of like nerfing. I was like, Bane I didn't really feel like was stronger than that. It had some like defensive stuff because of the curses and curse stacking. That's just curse stacking anyway, and you could do that if you wanted to. I always thought that Cold Snap Vortex was way stronger, and it was certainly way stronger for like killing Uber Elder and that. So yeah, that incidentally gets nerfed because of the old cultist change. But that aside, yeah, I was surprised that Essence Strain Contagion didn't get a change since Bane did. And I didn't think it was that strong.
Was also very
good for
surprised that Bane got nerfed. Obviously, Bane, when I played it, had so much damage that it's still fine after the nerf. If you really enjoyed Bane last league, guys, and you want to play it again, it's still gonna be good. It'll probably not feel much different. I'm still a little bit surprised that it got nerfed because it sort of felt like I'm like this like slow spellcaster wall of death. And I felt that was kind of okay because it didn't feel particularly fast compared to a lot of other skills. So the fact that it was sort of like a slow boom, I was kind of okay with that. It's not like the end of the world that it got nerfed, but I'm surprised, I guess.
You think it was that slow? I mean, it was pretty. Like, you just click once and it's like.
I mean, compared to Contagion, yeah. That's why I was really.
I mean, whenever you compare anything
to. But that's what I'm mostly surprised about.
Contagion, or Contagion and Winter Orb. I mean, then everything feels kind of slow.
But that's why I was mostly surprised that Contagion didn't get and that Bane did.
I'm more surprised that Solren got an AoE nerf, but Contagion was unchanged. Like, if we're talking about straight AoE, it's like they feel Solren is just clearing. Like, it just gets too much AoE for free, but Contagion doesn't. I don't know. I think that struck me a little bit more.
I guess Contagion Essence Drain always benefits from just the player base's tendency to not play multi-skill setups. I
was about to say, and I would like to say that there is, in my opinion, a good argument for that skills like, for example, Vortex Ice Nova or Contagion ED kind of deserve to be a little bit stronger, because a right-click ability should always be weaker than an ability where you literally have to do multiple things.
Yeah.
Like, there are definitely downsides to Contagion ED. Like, look at Crying's Death. Like, if that was just a right-click ability, then, you know, because he used one of them and then got stunned and died. So you definitely have an advantage when you have an ability that you're just spamming right-click compared to 2 buttons. That's always going to be a big advantage. And it also takes up 2 slots on your hotbar. Like, we don't have that many hotkeys. We're running out. There's so many new cool skills and things being like put in now. Now we have to do like 2 buttons. That's a lot, dude.
With Blood and Sand and the new defensive skills, plus like potentially war cries, plus maybe 2 skills because they're like buffing rare HP as well. Maybe using a single target and an AoE now a bit more often. Yeah, it's getting a little bit limited there. I think we're getting to be that point where it's starting. We're running into that wall where it's like we're about to get to that point where people are going to really start complaining about this. Like it's been like probably like 3 leagues ago. I asked Chris, I was like, yeah, could we get like a thing to alternate it? And it was mostly just then for summoners. And then it was like, I have a couple builds now that this is being an issue on. And now it's going to be like every build.
Yeah.
In like a league or 2, I think.
Even spell builds
$25
already.
per hotkey.
Oh God.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no.
We finally pay to win.
Oh shit.
I think it's a good trend though. What do you guys think, dude? I think it's a good trend that we're feeling that we're getting capped out on like active abilities to like play around with on most builds.
Yeah, especially as long as it evolves over time. Like you don't want to overwhelm new players. Like early on, you want players to like, or it depends on the player, but yeah, obviously early game you want players to be like not having to have like 109 hotkeys, and then late game it can be like, because you get kind of used to it over time.
Yeah. Do you like the new active skills that they're introducing?
I think a lot of them looks really exciting. I think the lacerate type stuff with the blood and sand, that looks so exciting. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, lacerate now does something different whether you're in sand stats and blood stance. So I believe that in blood stance it's bleeding and maiming, or just bleeding.
Bleeding.
Yeah.
Bleed chance and more bleed damage.
And in sand stance it's more AoE, which I think sounds so cool. I wanted this for like seals for a long time, like for spells and everything. It would be cool having like 2 or 3 different modes and being able to change on the fly, and sort of like, I think that's a cool way to increase like the skill cap, where obviously animation cancelling is a lot of nice things for that too. But yeah, so cool. I hope they start doing more with that.
Yeah, no, I can't but agree. It's looking really cool, and they have like there's the Blade Storm as well, the Perfect. The Perfect actually changes the skill completely from like one skill to another pretty much. Oh, it's really nice.
And you also have the introduction of the new, like, what's it called, Iron Skin and stuff.
Oh yeah, the guard skills,
stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. One of the biggest changes Path of Exile did that feels really nice is the fact that seals are instant now. Like, we've already had that with things like Face Run and Blood Rage, and Iron Skin was going to be instant. Immortal Call is instant now. So excited for stuff like that. It's gonna be very exciting with Immortal Call being reworked. I think we're gonna have so many deaths.
Yes.
Like
with the guard skills, and Immortal Call on that note, do you think that because they're competing with the slot for like a cast when damage taken setup, do you think you're going to end up using them though, or just having them cast when damage taken is too much benefit for that automated defense when things go wrong?
maybe both. Maybe like
You can't though, because they share cooldowns.
No, but what I mean is maybe like a fairly high level cast on damage taken, either Immortal Call or the other one setup. What was the other one called? Iron Skin, yeah. Either like a high level one, so it doesn't proc that much, and then like a maxed out one that you self cast. I think that could be
I like
nice.
that idea. That's cool. I really wanted to see the level 1 versus level 20 of those gems, because I feel like it's super important how much stronger they get from level 1 to 20 for things like cast when damage taken versus self-casting, because I think there needs to be a big reward to self-casting. But I do like your idea of having like a high level one that only procs when things go really wrong.
Yeah. I think that would be nice. And I think self-casting is going to be quite a like big thing this league, because say you see like the porcupines, you can cast Steel Skin, it'll hopefully save you from the majority of the damage. I can see Jade Flask and Stacking Evasion being very popular too.
You know, another one that people forget about all the time, Abyssal Cry. That works really well for porcupines, if you don't already have like a lot of corpse destruction going on.
Yeah.
That's like a gameplay mechanic, playing around the mechanic, because it's not a mechanic otherwise you can play around unless your character just so happens to have corpse destruction. But that is something you can mechanically do to deal with porcupines.
And we have like an instant node that's like really nicely on the tree as well.
Yeah,
We
next to Duelist Instant Cast Warcries.
Yeah.
we have something exciting we can show on stream from the Path of Exile Twitter actually.
Oh.
And I'll show you guys here in a second. Let's switch over. Incubating 6 linked armor item. 30,030 kills.
6-link gloves,
Okay.
Pog.
Oh, so this is armor item as well, not just a chest. It is actually an armor. Okay, that's pretty cool. Could that be unique?
I mean, doesn't say it
I mean,
can't be. That'd be pretty awesome if you had something that you
Yeah.
didn't think was going to be unique, and all of a sudden it pops out as unique. Though in a lot of cases, you probably would prefer like a rare 6-link than some random trash tier 6-link unique.
I think it's
though.
really cool. I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. What do you think about the incubators overall?
I'm very skeptical about them. It's hard to tell before trying them. I'm skeptical. Like both that and the monolith is like the only thing I'm very skeptical about, but they could end up being like some of my favorite mechanics. I loved Pokemon Go. I played it a lot.
I just think it's like cute. That's my term for like mechanics like this. Like, oh, that's cute. Like, I think it's necessarily going to be like a good thing because it's just a kind of like a cute little way of doing something slightly differently that adds a little bit of different flavor to it. That's really the only like difference there. It's just a little different flavor in terms of when and how you get the feeling of getting your loot.
Yeah. It just depends how much micromanagement it ends up being. And for those of you who don't know how the incubators work, they drop, you right click them and you put them on an item, and it's like walking an egg in Pokemon Go. Once you've killed the 30,030 monsters, it pops out. It hatches like an egg. So we're Pokemon Go now. I'm very sad that this wasn't in Bestiary League. I honestly feel like that is a massive missed opportunity.
I really think like the excitement of the incubators will be literally 1-to-1 with what they do, is in terms of which incubators are available. If there's something that's really like rare and crazy and exciting in there, then it'll be really fun. Something I actually really liked from Synthesis was how the boxes would occasionally drop in Nexus itself, would occasionally drop like, here's like some random 2-hander unique 6-linked.
Yes.
I got like a Fox Shade as a 6-link natural drop. That's never happened to me in PoE. And that was like a really exciting moment. I'm
really
like, wow,
like
that's really cool because I would never 6-link a Fox Shade, right? But I had a 6-link Fox Shade and I'm like, I'm going to use this. And that was really fun. So stuff like that's like less powerful, but like still an interesting thing that they can do that enables you to try something different. You know, it's not like it was a super powerful item or anything. 6-link Fox Shade was kind of cool on a Trickster for a while.
Yeah.
So doing stuff like that with incubators, this is an opportunity for them to do weird stuff like that, I think, which would be really fun.
I mean, I had the same experience. It was like I dropped a 6-link rat cage and I was like, oh my god, I love Val Molten Shell. I can't wait now that I have a 6-link rock cage for free. I'm totally gonna do a Val Molten Shell build. I didn't, but you know, I wanted to. I thought about it.
But the idea was there.
The idea was there. So like, I think it's a really cool mechanic.
That's one of the best things about PoE. When you have something in your inventory and you have this idea of I want to do that down the line, and it's just always there, regardless of whether or not you do it. It's just always there.
There's always so many things you can do.
PoE or with the incubators?
PoE, yeah. I think that's why I wanted. That's why I wanted Winter Orb to be nerfed so hard. I think a lot of people don't believe me when I say I wanted Winter Orb to be nerfed, but
I believe you. You played it like 80 times. I would have to imagine you'd be like, at this point, you've got a problem, and GGG needs to step in and intervene. So
that's the thing. Outside of races, I only had 2 Winter Orb characters, and my occultist only got level 96. I didn't actually play that much outside of races, but obviously. In races, I'm gonna try
80 races.
Yeah. But I feel like I enjoyed playing Winter Orb. I think most people who played it enjoyed it as well and would say it was a pretty fun build to play. But I think Winter Orb is probably the most skill in the game that has made everything else felt like, well, I'm playing this right now, But if I slapped Winter Orb on it, it would definitely be faster. And
Yeah.
it's definitely been the most problematic skill the game has ever seen. And I don't really want a skill like that. Because with other skills, if it's only like yeah, sure, I could be like that skill and be 5% faster, but I really like my Fireball build. Or I really like the crunchiness of Spark. So definitely why I was happy it got nerfed.
I worry a little bit though that ED, just in terms of dealing with the league mechanic, kind of holds the same role this league. That it has the potential to, at least.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I really hope. I hope other things will be able to like match that.
I'm very skeptical.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be logical skepticism.
God.
I was a bit curious when you named it Logical Optimism. Usually podcasts are a little bit more of a skeptical.
I'm usually optimistic. Just
Fair enough. Fair enough.
oh. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see.
Anything else that stood out?
Yeah. A lot of people are talking about the Warlord's Mark changes, which that has divided people like crazy. So many
Yeah.
people. I've seen so many people be like, "Oh, I hate it." And yeah, loads of people going like, "Oh, this is great" for whatever reason. So very, very divided. I personally like it, to some degree. I
Why?
think the main thing I don't like about it is that there is no like early game great way for casters to get mana now. For example, I would normally do Herald of Thunder Curse and hit Warlord's Mark until I could get Leech on Boots. I don't have that option anymore. I just have to use a mana fast now. Yay! For clarity, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't feel great. But it's not the end of the world. At least Leech, they have forgot that Leech on Boot exists. We still have that. Just gotta do Cruel Lab 300 times and then we're good to go.
That is on kill though, so it's not exactly the same thing. I mean, a Walrus Mark you just like put on the boss, and now you have Leech on the boss.
Yes.
So I mean, at least that's conditional, so it's nowhere near as strong. But why do you like it then?
I like anything that gives melee an advantage over casters right now. I really miss my Cyclone and Thunder roots. Okay, I actually hate Thunder, but Cyclone roots. So anything that shits on casters and lets melee go to be number one, that I'm all for it. Nerf casters only one. I just want to have a Cyclone league, dude. I want all the comments in my chat to be like, oh my god, all these streamers are only playing Cyclone and Reeve. Why are no one playing bad skills like Ellie Hit or Winter Orb? That's what I want in my chat. Why is everyone playing Cyclone? So feel free to shit on spells all you want until melee is number one for at least one full league.
I always felt like the identity for spellcasters was supposed to be that you had a hard time getting Leech, but you had other mechanics to play with, like Mind Over Matter and Eldritch Battery and things like that, which are all quite powerful. And then attack builds had easy Life and Mana Leech, and now it's changed a bit because we have easy Energy Shield Leech for spellcasters, which kind of, I think, fits into that like thematic design of it. But I kind of like the Warlord's Mark change just because, but I feel like it's only half the step. I think the second part of the step is to add some more like alternative options that have some more like opportunity cost to them. So that's, I think ultimately the problem with Warlord's Mark on spellcasters was just that didn't really have much of an opportunity cost. Yeah, you're potentially missing out on a curse slot, but ultimately that's, I don't think, a big deal for how easy it was to, once you had one, whack on a Warlord's Mark ring or throw it on your Herald for no extra cost, or throw it on like Orb of Storms or something, curse bosses and things like that.
So you would like more options to like deal with that problem that Warlord's Mark solved in a different way?
Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, Boots is one option. I don't think it's a very interesting option for dealing with it. Like you said, it can be problematic in certain situations. I do really like some of the options we already have, like Eldritch Battery and Mind Over Matter, and just like, investing in those things. Those, I think, those are examples of good options of dealing with the problem. So yeah, I'd like to see more options like that potentially, because I think there is a bit of a need for it, because not everyone wants to be Mind Over Matter or Eldritch Battery. I mean, they do cover most things. Most builds could be one of those two if they're top of the tree spellcaster. Like, honestly, like if you want a lot of auras, you can go Eldritch Battery. If you want a lot of, mana and extra effective health pool and deal with the mana problems, you can go Mind Over Matter. You can kind of do both, but I don't want to see every build just divided between those two. I'd like to see some that aren't,
Yeah.
and have another option that has a bit more opportunity cost.
To be fair though, with Leech on Boots, at least there's like so much, like there's more ads and stuff in the fights with staged bosses.
That's true.
So Leech on
Yeah.
Boots might be a nail for a lot of it, and then you also have Vaal Clarity for bosses. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like doesn't it last like 15 seconds or 12? It lasts quite a while, doesn't it?
It does. It lasts for a long time. You can slap increased duration on there as well if you want
Yeah.
to.
That's a long time to kill a boss.
Yeah, it is.
I honestly think mana mechanics at the fundamental level are flawed. Like the
You think
idea
so?
that mana is very all or nothing. Like you either literally don't think about it at all because you just have fully automated mana solution, and it just takes a little bit of like build investment in the first place, or you get into a situation where you literally can't use your skill and it feels like absolute shit. So it's such an all or nothing thing. Like I feel like mana's just such a big problem at the fundamental level in that regard. Like this is nothing that can be changed in PoE. This is like something that other games have dealt with in other ways by having things that are like, oh, here's a spender, here's a generator, and other systems like that,
Yeah, and
which is a bit more engaging usually.
it's a bit weird that they're making it such a big problem for spells when it's so easy for melee and attack builds, because it's literally 1 point on the tree and you've sorted all your mana problems regardless as melee. Like all you need
Yeah.
is like 0.4 leech, which is very accessible on the tree in multiple locations. And if you can't, then you can put that on a jewel. Physical attack damage leaches mana. Can't do that, well, and then you can do mana gain per hit. Like there's so many options for melee and so few for casters. Why is that? It's a bit weird.
I mean, you have stuff like Berserker though coming in this league with like 30 attacks per second. If you have like 30 or 40, I mean, you'll exceed that leech very fast with a high reservation. So you still run into that. So you have to be a little bit creative with like on hit or minus cost. So it's not like it's always just done with that. There are some problems for
Right.
melee, but I don't. But do you really see that as a problem, that there sometimes arises like a small problem that you have to solve? And it can't just be done with a node or like a wallet mark?
No,
I find that interesting.
I guess it's just very interesting how one has like such a big problem with it and it's so easily
Yeah.
solvable for the other. Like there's just so many options compared to none, sort of.
I mean, spell builds have all advantages.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't have to deal with
That's true.
accuracy.
That's true. Yeah,
I
they
mean,
can
should we
have-
give accuracy to spells?
God,
No.
accuracy shouldn't exist. Yeah, you're right. No,
That's-
that's fine. They can have different problems to deal with. I agree with that. That is true. Was there anything else that really stood out on the patch notes? Oh, I want to talk about one thing, and I'm gonna open it up on stream. It's this thing. Where is it? I found it. All right. This guy right here. Soul of Steel.
Mhm.
Soul of Steel Mage.
Oh.
That thing
Armor solved.
is bonkers.
They fixed armor.
It's so good. It's so
It's
insane.
very good. Okay, I'll be a little bit crazy here and say I actually don't pick this up on all my builds.
Are all your builds lore weave?
What?
I mean, the builds are like one node away
Why?
because there are other options that are as good, if not even better.
Do they give +1 max res?
No, they give something that's better.
What's that?
Want to know?
Yes.
Reduce damage taken.
But why not both?
Because you end up being point starved.
You
There's
do. I've been
You
playing around
really
with
do.
builds. Oof. Can I have like 500 points for the bottom of the tree?
I know.
I
It's
do think that they're
very-
great, though. Don't get me wrong; they're like amazing nodes, and it's almost an auto-include in most builds. But
Hmm.
I think people get a little bit sidetracked as well. It's like, oh, you have to have this and this and this. I think with how good the left side is, we kind of have to say, I can't have everything, however much it hurts.
Right. That's fair. Another quick thing I want to bring up as well. From the people who brought you the Shadow Circle. Now
Oh, no,
featuring
no,
the
no.
weird thing down here. I've seen so many builds and lots of people want either, like Spine Cruncher, Blade of Cunning, Lava Lash, and you end up with this ugly thing, which just doesn't look or feel good. It feels like you've done a mistake, and you're gonna have so many people going like, "Hey, Zizaran, you can save a point." Never mind. It's just like, oh no.
It
Why?
is just 100% a visual illusion, though. It's just our brain like freaking out about it. Because if you are getting like the square because you want clusters on either side, everything's actually like fully point efficient. It's like 1 point this cluster, 1 point this cluster, 1 point this cluster. It just like trips your brain out a bit, though. So don't stress too much about it, guys. Let it go.
Just feels
Get the
wrong.
trapezoid. Get the Giga Pudding. It's a little Giga Pudding tilted. It's about to fall over.
I feel like I'm wasting points somehow. But there's definitely like a lot. It's just so dense down here now. They like,
Yeah.
I think they misunderstood when they said we want more density. We meant maps, but they put it on the skill tree instead. But like this is nice too. I'll
So
take
much
it.
density.
Yeah, there's so much density on the skill tree. Templar as well has like really high density. Whenever I'm making builds, like I just feel like I can like stay here and put a lot of things. Same with like a lot of nodes here. Like just that's nice. Whereas maybe Shadow and Ranger could do with some love there, because like, you know, I feel like a lot of Ranger or Shadow trees. I'm starting here and I'm ending up like, you know, like over here. So it's definitely very different. But like both Templar and the Duelist area, very, very dense now, which is nice.
Something I really like about this is there's a lot of really little interesting mechanics that do, because there's so many like random niche mechanics in PoE now. So you can be like, I want a little bit of blind, I want a little bit of onslaught, I want a little bit of phasing, I want a little bit of culling strike, I want a little bit of maim, and you can kind of like snipe those things up. But also this whole thing is like forcing us to reevaluate like what is worth getting in terms of, I'm looking at damage clusters and I'm like, yeah, this is, you know, 14, 14, and 24% fizz damage with attack speed on each node. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good based on previous evaluations of the tree. On the other hand, though, I'm at 400 passive points spent, so maybe this cluster isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm wondering, because we have so many more, like, there's a lot more mitigation stuff. Effective HP, our understanding of that is changing, I think, to the point where maybe maybe you don't necessarily need as much raw HP, and you might be better off getting some of those mitigation clusters now, which has not really been much of a thing in PoE. You've never really been like, oh, you know, it's much better for me to have 1,000 less HP and some more armor on the tree.
Right.
That's never been a thing.
That's been like 50% of my theory crafting is how do I get to a good HP number? And then also, what is a good HP number versus the mitigation I'm getting? Like, am I getting the fortify nodes? Am I getting the solid steel and all that? So yeah, that's been a real problem to fix.
Yeah. Is there anything that you hope, like, what would you hope for the future of the patch notes and the tree? Like, do you feel like the way they've started working with both Duelist, Templar, Marauder, that it's so much more dense? Do you like that, or?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I can't think of a downside really, that apart from the part we're just freaking out now trying to figure out how we plan our builds, but we'll figure it out over time.
Yeah. I always like when I feel like I want more nodes. I think that's always a good feeling. Both on the Ascendancy tree. Like, I was making a Warchief Chieftain, and I was like, I want more points. Like, that's always a good thing. It never feels, at least for me, it never feels good when I'm like, okay, I have to take this one, I have to take this one, and I guess it doesn't really matter. I already have all the important stuff. There's nothing else to go for. So, more choice, always a good thing.
I do wonder if having really high density of good stuff clustered around starting areas means a lot more trees just end up being like just that part of the tree, rather than kind of like stretching out and getting interesting things in other areas. So I do wonder if eventually maybe it gets to a point where it's like your creativity might be limited. But I guess if every part of the tree ends up being like this, then I don't know, just maybe eventually traveling on the tree becomes up to a point where you're like, why would I do this when I can just get all the good nodes in my area?
Yeah, you'll have like, somebody will be asking you for a build review. They're a witch, and it's like, oh, you're in a shadow area? What a noob. Why didn't you stay in the witch area?
Just get all the witch nodes.
I think if you just make sure that you cluster thematically similar nodes around the same area, so you don't spread them out, so you can get them like anywhere. Like if you want to go fortify, as a ranger, you still have to go all the way to the left. Or if you want to go phasing, you have to go to like to the ranger area. Or if you're gonna get all the AoE, you kind of have to travel all the way up to Templar and that kind of stuff. So I mean, there's as long as you have the thematical like differences on the tree, and you kind of like, I want to beat this thing, but I want to beat that ascendancy. Then you'll automatically have to like travel through this and figure out a way how to make the best build out of that.
And if you want to do
like,
a ES build, it's only every other patch.
Yeah, if you'll make it so there's like, just to like oversimplify it, if there's like one really strong cluster at each start location, then you go around picking up, you travel and get the strong clusters. So if you then have like, oh, here's 10 really strong clusters in each start location, but they're for specific different things, then you're like, okay, I'm going to get these two and these two and these two, and I'm going to travel because it's worth it then. Yeah, that's true. So that's like, there is a solution there to make it still interesting in terms of whether you want to travel or stay in an area.
Yeah.
I think a really interesting choice this league is because how prevalent aggro and phase aggro have been in previous leagues. Do you go an active mitigation armor style and stay on the left side, or do you go to the right and pick up aggro phase aggro? That's something I've been struggling with.
Yeah. That's true. There's so many good things now. Just great. I think this is actually like, we brushed on it earlier, but we didn't really talk about it. The new Watcher's Eyes. Let's call them that. What are they called again? Blood gems?
Just Legion Jewels.
Legion Jewels?
One for each
Historic,
Legion. It seems.
So cool.
Yeah, Historic is a mechanic for them.
It just so cool. I'm so excited for them. I wonder how they're gonna work. Like,
yeah, we don't
all of
actually
them.
know a lot now. Like, we know that the Vile Jewels corrupt the area around them and change all the passives in the area, including potentially keystones from the looks of it. But they all don't work that way. I mean, the non-Vile Jewels aren't going to corrupt the tree. And we haven't really seen many examples, or any examples, I don't think, of other jewels from other legions changing all the minor passives. So they seem like they function differently. Certainly, we've seen what looks like different jewels changing keystones. And there's like 14 new keystones as a result. But yeah, like that could explain potentially only 2 of the Legion jewels, or maybe it's just like a mixture. But what do the other ones do then?
Yeah.
Or like, what are the other like more minor effects of them?
I'm very, very excited. Imagine if there's one that just like makes everything a life node. Then
There
we have
is.
like 18k life fire
That's
build.
basically the Vile Jewel. One of the Vile Jewel seeds that we saw at least.
It's like
did
the
something
first one.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Wonder if it'll. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Maybe. But that was in a Dex area, right?
Yeah. It's
Maybe
over
it-
to the it's the ranger area.
Maybe it only does it there.
Maybe. That's actually a question I really want to know. It's the answer to is, are these going to be, can we place these in other spots other than the ones that we've seen on the previews?
Yeah, so I know a bit about this because I did spend a bit of time talking with Chris, because I was just interested like how they were actually doing the mechanics of the seeds for this.
Ooh.
But yeah, you can place them anywhere, and they'll have effects that are determined both by the passives, at least the Vile Jewel, because like that's the one we were specifically talking there.
Okay.
You can place them anywhere, and they'll have effects based on the passives, but also the seed. So I think it'll probably be, I imagine, like, let's say take the life one, for example, where it was converting a bunch of the nodes into life. I imagine that'll do the same thing everywhere.
Okay.
It just depending on how much life you get is whether it's a minor node or a notable or something like that, maybe with some difference in certain nodes, I'm not sure. But there's a seed system where there's like thousands of seeds for each one. And the way they basically have developed that is by creating like a generated table of like, here's all the like possible things you can get. And then having seeds will make it so that, okay, this seed is like the system auto generates it. So this seed will make it so that these types of passives give this thing, like a life. These sorts of passives give this thing, I don't know, some other mechanic. So the jewel will get assigned to those things. What I don't know, and I wonder, is if there's going to be kind of like a range. So you're like, oh, I'm looking for a jewel somewhere in the 1,000 to 2,000 seed range, because that's got the stuff I want on it in some variation. Because I imagine there'll be like raw ranges. So there might be like one seed's like all of everything's life, but there's like a different seed that's pretty similar. It's all life, but the values are slightly different. Like they're higher or something. Like maybe the notables are higher.
See, this sounds like it could be horrible for streamers. It's like, hey, Zizaran, I'm following your build guide and it's shit. Oh, I see here that you're using Legion Jewel with the seed 228. You actually need one with 16,741, you noob. Oh my god, don't you know anything? Zizaran, why are you
Yeah.
using minion nodes? Is
Just
Winter
make a
Orb
better
a
guide,
minion?
sis.
How do we
Hmm?
verify seed for trading? It's written on the originally Chris said it was going to be written in the flavor text, but I think they changed their mind. It'll be easier if it's not in the flavor text, because I think for the trade sites and that, it's actually listed on the jewel as it says something like 2,289 people were sacrificed in the making of this jewel,
Oh.
and that's the seed, obviously.
Right.
So that system also working? Like, is that also in place for like all the keystone stuff? Because I mean, there's only 14 keystones, new keystones, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I thought that it would be like specific keystone slots with a specific jewel would give
Yeah.
that specific keystone, because there's like one that's like the power charge generator that's going to be on the new Vol's protector, and I figured, oh, that's probably going to be like the corrupted version of the conduit node or something. But then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe that's a Templar jewel giving that. But then there's not enough keystones to say that every single keystone slot that has a jewel slot next to it has 5 variants. If that's the way it's going, that's too many. That's not 14. So maybe it's like each jewel will put that keystone on any other keystone, just like straight up replacing them. And maybe it's just a bit of a debate, the locations that we've seen from the pictures.
I'm kind of
Like-
hoping that myself.
Yeah, like you can put the keystone anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
if you want that ES keystone, it can go anywhere. But I mean, I don't know. It seems thematic. So that energy shield keystone was on. I mean, it was on Resolute Technique. There's no like connection
Yeah.
between Resolute Technique and
Yeah.
energy shield. So that does suggest that you can probably put them anywhere. It's more just based on the jewel and maybe the seed.
That makes sense. I like that. Well,
Hmm.
and I think you knew he was hinting on this. This is a good part to segue into builds and recommendations, because there's a lot of, especially new players, wondering what are going to be some good hot builds to take on the new Legion mechanic with.
Hot spicy builds.
Hot-
You guys start. I'll be right
Hot
back.
spicy builds.
Okay.
I'll start with this one. I have these ready to go.
I actually have like a second build I want you to link.
Yeah, sure. Just link it to me and I'll get it ready.
Yeah.
That's your second one. Let's see. I think I can have this playing in the background here. Yes. Awesome. So the build that I will be recommending is surprisingly Contagion ED. I've got a 15-minute video guide ready going up on this. I've actually got a absolute shit ton of video guides going up. Never had this many builds. And
Good job, sis. Well done.
it's been great. Thanks, Nugi. Appreciate that. I'll show off the path of building here. Let's see. Here it is. And we put a lot of work into it. This is explained at the start of the video, but it's basically, it shows point for point how you do the build. So this is exactly what it looks like when you have 29 points. And here's what skills you use, and that's explained how you use that. It's very easy to follow, especially for new players. You also have different item sets for early game and end game, showing you good examples. And in the notes, it also shows you where to buy all the gems and stuff like that. And yeah, ED Contagion, it's also a trickster. It's just going to be a really, really strong build this league. Bex has already confirmed that Contagion spreads for the monolith. And all the guides that are coming up are very in-depth like this. Very easy to follow if you're a new player. I think I had already put my money on Contagion being the strongest build this league. Just as a guess. I mean, when Warp came out, I guess that would be really strong. That was before it came out as well. So hopefully we can... I mean, obviously we already know Contagion's in the game. Bit different.
I'm disappointed that you're probably right.
Yeah. So it should be pretty exciting. Pretty decent build. And should be strong for everything. It's a very, very strong SSF build. All the like recommended items are either replaceable completely by reverse or easy to farm on SSF. And you can do things like Shaper, Uber Elder, and very fast map farming on this. So it's a lot of different things you can do with this build. Very, very easy, strong, and you can level with it. You don't have, like, a lot of build guides and builds have, like, for example, a lot of the Cyclone guides, I'd recommend leveling with Sunder, because Cyclone can feel fairly grim sometimes. Not because of the damage necessarily, but because if you have like 0 or 10% movement speed boots and no adrenaline, that can feel really slow. So yeah, being able to do that can be very, very nice. That is definitely my like number 1 recommendations, and I think we should have around 9 or 10 build guides up on YouTube with fully fledged build guides. So there's been a lot, and
Nice.
I'm not even doing them solo. We have a team of people working on making you guys guides now. So
A team.
yep.
Damn, man.
Anything right? So since we're showcasing this one, anything like specific we should know about it? Do's and don'ts?
Like
Do use
specifics.
Essence Drain. Don't not.
I mean, that's the thing, right? A lot of the specifics like that is like in the guide.
Okay.
I already see that a lot of people were surprised that I don't take Wicked Ward, and Embu as well was like, Embu was saying he's gonna roll this. I wouldn't really take Wicked Ward. Like you're not really relying on your recharge because you're a trickster. You're mostly relying on your ghost downs, which is gonna be way more than enough. You don't like.
Well, they're gonna drop a lot now, more frequent. So it's good to have like a backup.
I wouldn't take Wicked Ward. And if you do decide it, it's 2 points on the skill tree if you want it. So you can take
Are
it.
you
I'm probably
are
not
you
taking
using
it.
regen? Like Zealot's Oath regen at all? Or
No.
well, why would I would just take it. Like I feel like there's very little downside. Like 2 passives, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like there's very little downside. But fair enough.
Mm,
Optional. That's the thing about builds that people always miss is like change these things, guys. When you play people's builds, change them. It's how you learn how
Yeah.
to play the game, and it's also how you like everybody's needs and playstyle is different. So change the builds to like do things you want. Like you play better with Wicked Ward, play better with Wicked Ward. Don't care, don't get it.
yeah. Oh yeah, 3 points. Yeah. I probably won't get it. Probably won't. We'll see. I mean, it might change, but probably won't get it. That's the level 100 tree, so you have like different trees for different levels as well. As for items and stuff, like obviously farming on top of the Rasa fairly easily. Blood Aqueduct Act 9. Azir Step. Azir should be so easy with this build. Very, very nice. You don't have to worry about Reflect or anything. Should just be like beasting her down. So even on SSF, very, very easy to farm. And there's like not much to say about it here. It's like a fairly in-depth guide, 15 minutes I think. And this is particularly helpful for new players. We've done like action groups. I don't really know what to call them, but in a lot of the guides in the past, it would be confusing for people like, when do you keep Racing Pulse? When do you drop it for Frostbomb? So here, like, you can see that there's an A. And that means it's like the one you keep replacing. So it's a lot easier to follow, and that's explained in the guide as well. And then...
Your path of building structuring is setting the bars is making me feel bad, man. This layout is excellent.
I'm glad you like it. I mean, that's the thing, right? We can always give more info to new players, but at what cost? It takes a lot of time investment. So, yeah. Definitely.
Do you, with Essence Drain, do you use like a mixture of stuff for boosting single target, or you just cast your Essence Drain and wander around? What
So
do
you
you like?
cast
Use Soul
Essence
Rend or something?
Drain, and then you use Blight. And
Yeah,
because you have the Spreading Rot Jewel, that also applies Wither stacks.
Yeah.
And that's just, yeah, it should be beautiful. I'll, for a while, probably be self-casting, which I think I have here somewhere. Yeah, self-casting Despair. Because...
No blasphemy for that?
No.
Okay.
I
guess we can like shield charts now with wands, right? We haven't mentioned that.
Yes.
So are you doing that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, there you go.
It means that you can get like a spell damage implicit, or cast speed implicit. And yeah, this guide will be up on YouTube. I think it is up actually, but we didn't render it with music. We just got it up fast for the podcast. But you can use Blasphemy as well. But I probably will try one of the new auras. We'll see. Also, once you get an Impressence, then you can use the Blasphemy setup for free. But there's new auras and stuff coming, so.
So you wouldn't use the potion ever?
Oh, which Fire Brew? No,
Mm-hmm.
no, I wouldn't. 100% not on hardcore. Like Quartz Flask all the way. Definitely.
Because you're running perfect form.
Well, I mean,
Oh, because you wanna.
I would
Because for
love a
ED,
perfect form.
you like phasing. That's what you're
I'd rather
saying?
anything that helps me stay alive, Nugi. I need it all.
No, but I'm like, why is it helping you stay alive? I'm not like, you need
Quartz?
to explain this to me, and
Quartz
you need to
will.
sell me your build.
All right. Well, we
I'm
don't
like,
have customers taking Immortal Coil anymore, so the more evasion and more spell dodge I can get on a flask and another immunity, like shock immunity and stuff, that's huge. I'll take it all. I'll take it all. If I could get a flask to help me read better, that'd be fantastic. Like, just don't see like a big deal with Witchfire Brew. Like, I can already for normal stuff, ED is so much damage anyway. That's just gonna shred through things. So I'd rather get an additional layer to my defense than a curse that I can already apply for bosses by self-casting, or that I don't need for like normal monsters.
You see, Nugi, you gotta build defense.
Oh,
Okay.
that sounds like a good idea. I think I'll take that on.
Should try that.
When are we getting map filters? That's what I want to know.
No, this is a really good build.
Nice. Let's let my good friend Nugi go next. I'm gonna go find the POB you linked me real quick. Do you want the first one you linked me or the second one?
It's the first one first.
All right.
Because I think that pertains more to like what most people will be interested in right now.
Let's see. Here it is. Boom. With the power nodes enabled and everything. This is yours, I believe.
Right, so you can see very just in one area. So this is right. So with this build, right, I don't have like a big guide attached to it or anything. I wanted to use this build as more of a talking point, like the pathing and the nodes that's been taken. As you can see, there's taking both. We have the bleed stuff, we have the impale nodes, a lot of X nodes, even Crimson Dance, which a lot of people have been memeing on for a long time. But as you can see over to the side, you actually have pretty high bleed damage in the end. That's 600k.
That's
with like, that's 8 stacks. So this is with Lacerate. Which is, so I was trying to see what could we actually push Lacerate to. So yeah, I don't have Solar Steel. That would be my next points, I would say, in this build would be Solar Steel. I could take them earlier, depending on what I'm thinking about. This is what I mean with Soul of Steel, is that what it's called? Isn't necessarily always what you're looking for. So I value the Fortify nodes first. And then you have the Bloodletting, which is also reduced damage taken. And it just stacks really well together. And it gives you tons of damage at the same time. You have the Impale nodes, which is also like the new stuff. So so we have the new package essentially is full physical damage. And full physical damage allows you to utilize Impale and Bleed. We have an aura for it. We have Blood and Sand. We have what's the other thing for Blood and Sand? The other...
Flesh and Iron or something? Flesh and Stone?
Yeah, and then we have the Dread Banner, which is all about physical damage, more AoE, increased physical damage, more increased physical damage, and all that good stuff.
Is Flesh and Sand the new blind aura thing?
Yes.
That's the one I want to use. I want to use that on everything.
Oh yeah, even spellcasters should use it.
I'm using that. That's why I'm not reserving less for me.
Yeah. So for spellcaster, what you would do is you would put it on, and then in an area around yourself, everything's blinded, and everything that's not in that area deals less damage to you. So it's like, regardless of where you're positioned next to the monster, it's always going to be a benefit. So one of the reasons why it fits really well in the Gladiator, so I'm a Gladiator here, is so when you're in blood stands, so you'll go on the boss, you'll start attacking, and the Gladiator has chance to blind. And so then you swap to the blood stands, and then they're still blinded. And then where you're running around just AoEing, you're in the sand stands, and everything's going to be blinded as you come in. So everything will always be blinded, and it's just really nice as a defensive mechanic. A lot of people will probably like meme about, oh, it's only 179 increased life. But one thing you have to understand is that we never had the fortified nodes before. And these are essentially increasing your defense against everything, apart from degens. And people are really, in general, not dying to degens. It's very rare that you actually see that happen.
Yeah,
So,
unless you're deep delving, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So for the most part, this is those nodes are life nodes to me. So if
Yeah.
you're taking those, you're not only you're just getting a higher life pool. So that's why you don't actually need to hit the 200% life on like all your builds anymore. If you make sure to find another way to increase your, your total life pool.
So, a quick question, real quick. I've never done a blade build in Path of Building. So, is it 570k? Is that the total DPS for the build, or is it 480 and 570?
It's both. And this is not counting Impale.
So it's 1.1k damage? Well, 1.1 million damage? That's really high.
Yeah, and it's with Resolute Technique. This is ramp up, right?
Right.
So it's a good idea to have a good mix here. You want to have good upfront damage, which is the 500k-ish, right? For when you're just mapping and like you need to like just one-shot the packs and then pop with the bleed explosion. And then whenever you get a tougher monster, you just keep whacking away and you stack up the bleeds and you stack up the impales, and then all of a sudden it ramps up like beyond like the million. This is Shaper DPS as well.
This is going to do way more damage in the actual league, because 550 DPS X is going to be easy to get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to like keep it a little bit realistic.
This is nice. I am impressed and surprised. I was ready to meme all over your build when I saw Crimson Dance,
no.
It looks... Oh, I thought that was 8 link for a second.
No. So if you look at the belt, we're trying to like, right, so that's just for anyone, if they ever look at this thing, just hover over the belt. It's imitating all the new buffs that we're getting for Lacerate.
Nice belt.
Right, so it's a really good belt.
That's a really good belt.
Yeah, that's a really good belt. But I don't really have any other damage. So it's like the 16 damage with like the fully... This is also why like with so many good nodes around the area, you get like really powerful builds set up without having to actually like go and crit or anything. You can actually just put together a full bleed build.
Can I marry your belt?
Sure, you can marry my belt.
Can you annul the 40% less attack speed off it? Then I'll marry it.
Yeah. No, this should be really good. I mean, it's a little low on the life pool. We have good mitigation, and like you really want to extend maybe stacking strength and everything. That's a possibility to just get more life because it is low. But any point of life you get beyond this point is going to be even more, powerful because you have so much mitigation going for you.
So what is the 700% more damage with bleeding accounting for?
So that is the ramp up for the bleed stacks. That's Crimson Dance. So if you like edit that thing and just put a dot in front of the more bleeding, you'll have 1 stack of Crimson Dance, which is around 70k. So Crimson Dance stacks your bleed up to 8 times, but it allows you to do bleed damage on stationary targets, which is important when you're doing, say, Shaper, because he doesn't really run around after you, right? So you need to be able to get the full bleed damage on him that way.
So 1 stack is 71,000, yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
How important do you think the combination between, because we're doing kind of similar-ish things here, Nugi, but how important do you think like the bleed gladiator combo is? Because I was looking more at like champion, really focusing on the impale stuff. And there's obviously a lot of potential synergy between bleed and pure fizz setups, which is what you are with if you're an impale build. How much do you think the bleed stuff is reliant on being a gladiator versus just any pure fizz build? Do you think it's worth it on any pure fizz build?
No, that's entirely dependent on what skill you're using. So Lacerate naturally like hands itself to I want to be a bleed build, because when you're in blood stance, you did so much bleed damage. Gladiator as well kind of like allows you to do this, because if you look at the bloodletting node, one of the reasons why that node becomes really good and just becomes like a natural pickup in Gladiator is because of the reduced damage taken. But that means you have to reliably be able to bleed, right? You have to have chance to bleed. And Gladiator has 50% chance to bleed. So if you're playing Champion, it's not very reliable because you'll not have enough bleed chance, and therefore you might just as well skip the whole thing and just focus on the Impale. So depending on whether or not like you're a Champion, then Impale seems a lot better. If you're a Gladiator, I mean, then bleed seems a lot better, just as an addition, as a way to just push damage on a non-crit build in a way that we couldn't really do before. Because that's really one of the issues that we had on like melee builds for a long time, is that you couldn't really push damage on like non-crit and physical builds. But with like Impale and Bleed and the new skill gems and like how they each like work with each other, and the Blood and Sand, depending on what kind of skill you're using, you can push different archetypes. And there's not really a thing you have to do, but there's a lot of things you can do. It's kind of
really nice.
how I would say it.
And are you starting the league with this then?
Uh-huh.
First level 100, bleed, lacerate.
I'm not gonna go. Okay, so I'll say this. I'll not race with lacerate. I've kind of come to my senses, and I've accepted the fact that 50% base attack time on lacerate makes it too slow. So it's probably gonna be something like Blade Storm, or maybe even Sweep. Could be Earthquake.
I'm telling you, dude. Sweep's so cool. You were like, I'm not
Sweep.
so...
It has really high radius. Yeah, no, you're right. It's not a meme. It's not a joke.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
I honestly think what happened is that some developer at ZiggyD was like, stupid Exiles, making fun of my sweep. Make fun of my sweep now, bitches. I added a 0. That's what happened.
Nice. It's good damage. It has added flat damage. It has a good AoE, right? You get the Pulverize. You get the Blood and Sand. You get all the AoE and the skill tree that you don't have to chase anymore. And all of a sudden, you'll have like screen-wide sweeps. It's possible.
Gonna sweep the floor.
We'll see.
I actually, and like, I was thinking like the knockback looks really annoying, but then I was also thinking I'm gonna one-shot everything. Knockback doesn't matter.
And if you have a 100% chance to bleed or something, I mean, if it doesn't get one shot, it has a bleed on there. That's always gonna kill them anyways.
It's gonna be so fun being bleed and watching my enemies slowly die instead of one-shotting them.
No, I'm just saying if there's
I'm
any
just kidding.
straggler, right? I know what you mean.
I think it's so hard to balance like dot builds.
Oh no, it is. It is. It's the only thing I use dot for here is as a way of like, extending single target damage. That's all it is.
Yeah, it looks really solid though. I'm like very impressed.
I spent a lot of time like just
Cyclone.
fiddling with this.
So bad.
Yeah, I mean you can use Cyclone on this as well.
And my div card is so good this league. It's so good now.
How do we get that?
You so my divination card is called The Undisputed, and it drops from Chayula.
All right.
And you need 8 divination cards, and then you get a Valax that is guaranteed to have the Merciless roll on it, and it is also eldered and high item level. So you can basically multi-mod it, good to go, and you got a great axe. Just don't fuck up the regal, but you can imprint it.
Is Elder for Fortify, or is that Shaper for Fortify?
It's Elder for
Elder.
Fortify.
Okay.
It's Elder for all
Nice.
the good stuff. Most importantly, the suffix. Like the Elder damage suffix.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a lot of Chayula though.
Yeah. So, Nugi, for Gladiator, for your build, did you feel like, was there a lot of choice to your Pantheon skills, or Ascendancy skills, or is this what you had to? Like you had to go this?
I mean, if you want to go fast, that's what you have to.
Yeah.
You can't go block and think about pushing to like fast. That's not how it works.
I'm so excited for
it
Arena
does-
Challenger.
I mean, it lends you the option of going like a really, really big boy block build, right? Really tank. I was looking at like a Facebreaker build earlier for Cyclone. He was max block with all the Fortify nodes, like almost 7k life, doing like 500k without Impale.
Oh my god.
Cyclone.
Block,
right? Just full block with riposte and all that good stuff.
block and bleed. It's like the ultimate Mexican standoff. Nobody's dying anywhere. I'm just kidding. That was just too easy.
I'm just saying, it looked really cool, right? When you could do that.
Yeah, I really like Arena Challenger. I just think
It's
cool
really
mode.
strong.
Kind of busted.
I actually want to explain arena challenges to people because I don't think people give the more attack speed and move speed enough credit for like how strong it is. Because there's a reason why everyone and their mother, when Deadeye and Tailwind came out, was like, this is insane. And now Gladiator's coming out, and everyone's like, lol, Berserker Slayer is way better. And they're
I'm
like,
surprised to see that.
Arena Challenger, what is that? No, so if you have 150 move speed, which is very achievable for most builds, it gives you 50 movement speed. If you have 150 increased attack speed, it's 50 attack speed. That's very speedy. And you can even get more. I mean, that's on the lower end of what you can achieve on a build.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. It is completely bonkers. I think part of, I mean, not everyone. I'm sure there's some people who know everything and still think it's shit. But I think a lot of people calling it out as being bad aren't exactly sure the difference between increased and more.
Also, this will be extremely easy to keep up. You're in Bloodstand, you come in, the first pack, 10 monsters, you have 10 stacks. And you'll never drop them. I mean, it's just not going to drop. And then you go on single target, 25% chance every single time that you hit to get one of these. I mean, you hit fast, right? You have a lot of attack speed. It's not going to drop. You're going to have full stacks all the time.
Yeah. It's going to be good. I'm excited. And then obviously the gratuitous violence node feels so nice, especially early game before you can potentially afford something like hemophilia. It like really helps out with the clear. It makes like a nice bleed explosion. It feels really good. It's like a nice like thud. Like poof. Ah.
Okay, sis. I'm reading chat right here, and there's a common misconception of how this works. If I could just explain real quick.
Of course.
Right. So for those who are saying, when I said 100%, 115% increased movement speed gives you 50%, they forget that you have a base movement speed of 100 already, right? When you're moving, you don't, like when you click your left click, you don't stand, like it's actually going to move you. That's your base movement speed, which then gets increased by 100%, meaning that you go at twice the speed. So you have to factor in if you have no movement speed whatsoever, you're getting 20 movement speed by 20% more. It's something that people tend to forget. It's just making that perfectly clear. So now that's sorted.
I think this calls for a 5-head wine glass. That's beautiful. Thank you for explaining that for us, Nugi.
No problem.
Is that pretty much all you want to cover in your build?
Well, for this one, yeah. I have we can do the other one real quick.
Okay.
I just want to, this is only for showcasing a potential build that one might want to try out. It's not really League starter friendly, but it's pretty cool, I think.
I was fully expecting a winter joke.
So this is the Bow Bleed Gladiator.
Oh yeah, nice.
Cool.
So that's 800k, like with 8 stacks with GMP and a Queen of the Forest. And if you put in Swift Affliction, you end up at like 1.2. Also, this is actually putting it at the low end because the mod we're using, if you look at the bow, is the Delve mod, which is the 60% chance for 100% more. I just put it at 60. So it's actually even more potential.
You really don't like the Soul of Steel node.
Oh, I mean, you can pick that up. I do like, it's see the points of the build, right? What do you give up at this point? Like, just look.
Life nodes?
I mean, maybe you give up the strength up there or something, some life nodes. Sure, you can give us some life nodes. That's fine.
I mean, I'd probably not take this entire thing.
Maybe not. I mean, there's some wiggle room. Maybe you don't take the those nodes. I don't know. It's right. I think this build has like some nodes. You should. I think the
Puncture is so
you,
cool though.
you can actually easily take it because there's a point down there. You can just put it like this. Because this is the thing. It's a work in progress, right? This is a work in progress. The strength node in the bottom, you put that up there. It's a 3-pointer. You take away some of the stuff on the left side, right? The cold nodes, the cold evasion nodes. It's just I was trying to push the evasion so I could see how fast I could run. Right, so it's like that. It's a work in progress. What I'm trying to show here is just that this is puncture, the new puncture, with a bow,
Juicy.
right?
There,
And how
much
strong
better.
that can be. So this will allow you to go to like, I don't know, like pretty easily like 1.5 million shaper DPS on a bleed puncture bow, with a somewhat like not too hard to craft bow. So new puncture is actually pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen the gem, but it's actually it's really good. So this is where you take advantage of the Linus jewel. If you look at that to the left, and then that hovers over the right, and you get the because you want to get to the faster bleed nodes.
Well, that is exciting.
Right, so there's increased bleed speed here, and there's also one with the bow. So it's 45 faster bleed damage. And then people ask, well, can you then stack them up? Won't they just run out in time? But then you look at puncture, and puncture has 8-second bleed duration. So it's like a way longer duration. So it can actually work.
Oh, the good old days of puncture back. Oh,
Yeah, bow
puncture. Puncture back in tornado shot days when it first came out. Puncture was so juicy then. I might have to give something like that a go.
Also, for those who are like, cleaving doesn't get hit by the Linus fault, doesn't matter. It has the faster bleed speed. That's all you want. You still get that because it's global.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of damage.
Uh-huh.
So does path of building correctly calculate everything?
Yeah, should do.
Look like it.
I mean, we've like cheated again with the belt here to make it a puncture gem, but yeah.
Awesome. And all these guides you're making, where can people find them? Are you making them on YouTube or in your chat or?
I mean, I'm making compiling a little document what this is. I can't promise that they're gonna be sys level quality here, but I mean, I just like experimenting with concepts, and you're always welcome to just come and ask and talk about things, and I'm always ready for a chat about builds. That's something you can always count on.
Awesome. No, that's really good. I actually was thinking like puncture looks really cool too, so I actually might end up trying this at some point. It looks really fun. Ooh. Is there anything else you want to say about this build, the Senzi points?
Not really. I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's so
It
cool.
has bleed explosions, so whenever you pierce through the first pack, it has clear speed that way.
Actually sounds really fun to play. Huh. I wonder how it would be to do something like this, but with Slayer and Hemophilia. Is Hemophilia only melee?
I don't know.
Let's look.
I'll say this though, doing this on Slayer is probably gonna be a lot less damage, because you have more bleed damage and more physical damage and increased physical damage taken and all that kind of stuff, which all helps bleed. So Gladiator is like really good here.
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking at Bow Slayer. The crit stuff with like Lionized Glare seems like it could be really good even as a league starter. I struggled with planning the build out though, getting something that felt comfortable. Probably just needs a bit more work, but I think there's like potential there though. But yeah, I like the looks of the Gladiator for the bleed stuff definitely.
That's
that
really
seems
cool.
like more solid.
Let's load up ZiggyD's build here.
Make sure you get the link that I just posted in the doc recently. So I didn't make a build. I made a Tabula Rasa build. Remember how I was like, I want to play everything and play a bunch of different builds and test a bunch of different stuff? A lot of you guys probably in the same position as me have no idea what you want to play. So I literally don't have a skill or a weapon in there. This is a Tabula Rasa. You can socket whatever skill or weapon you want into this. So picture this as the white shirt build. So I Can I talk to you guys for a moment about our Lord and Savior Impale? I'd like to spread the good word. So you don't need to play Impale skills. That's the first thing. You don't need to play Shattering Steel or Lancing Steel. That's the best thing about Impale in in 3.7. It's pretty freaking good. It's you can get 100% over 100% chance to impale, and how much was it? I got it in the hold on, let me bring up the build thing. Got it in the notes here.
Yeah, I see you have a lot of notes
and
here.
then
That's pretty cool.
And then it's like 108% impale effect, and that's from the gem, the new impale support gem, 30% from the tree, and 19% from Dread Banner. And this is all just easy stuff, sockets into literally any build. That's all. The only requirements for this is Fizz Melee. That's it. So all the new stuff is Fizz Melee. All the exciting rework stuff is Fizz Melee. So this will work with literally any of that. And I think Nugi's spot on with Bleed being really, really good in this style of setup if you're Gladiator. And I don't know, maybe there's some potential there with other builds, but I stayed away from it here. Like, I think, it's a bit hard to get it to that point where you start to break that point where it starts to get really good. But Impale, man, it's so easy to just sock it on and just get 108% more damage. Sure, or 100% more damage, basically. It's pretty girthy.
Do you guys want any of the POBs linked in chat right now, or do you want them in your videos and stuff?
No, you can just link.
All right.
Yeah, go for it. I will probably make content for this later once I'm transitioning into stuff. So the idea is, you may have noticed, obviously there's no weapon, there's no skill, and there's no specific nodes as well. And I've also only spent 103 points. Very easy once you have tried a bunch of different skills and weapons, and well, mostly just different skills, to determine what weapon type you want to go to, and then like pick up the relevant cluster on the left side and other relevant clusters. But I've hit stuff that is very good for everything, and it was actually pretty crazy to be doing this with the new tree and thinking you almost have a complete build without even picking up any of the specific stuff. Normally you'd have to rely on this weapon specific stuff, or like dual wielding specific stuff, or two-handed stuff. In this, you can pick up none of that, and you almost have your build done. It's like
really nice.
It's like 80% of the way there. So you can literally just try anything and then socket that into here. So I've also picked up a lot of the stuff that I think around this tree is like really, really nice. So we got the obviously the Impale stuff's all pretty big. I think I accidentally grabbed Red's Storm in there, dropped that. Oops. I think the strength nodes are actually pretty good in a lot of these like left side clustered trees. It's easy to drop and pick up something that's more efficient later on, but it's actually a pretty good amount of life, and it's like 200 extra strength. It's a pretty good amount of fizz and life there, flat life. I really like the.
Could you link the first build you had so I can link that in chat as well? Sorry, Ziggy.
Yeah. I'll one thing to note though with my builds is that I'm making a dock, and these are all. I mean, look at them now and just know that there might be some finicky stuff in there that I'll probably clean up, because I've been just experimenting with things, right? So if I throw like some notes in there I won't take later on, so these are more like concepts just for now, and then I'll clean them up in the dock over tonight and tomorrow.
Cool. Carry on, Ziggy. Sorry.
Yeah, all good. So you're going to be using things like Impale. I really like the looks of close combat. That's the one that gives a multiplier, but also gives you like a move speed buff for your next an attack speed buff for your next movement skill. So you're using most likely leap slam or shield charge, and that pack to pack clear is pretty nicely boosted by that. I think brutality obviously sockets in really nice. I actually think in a lot of cases you won't be using melee physical damage here because there's just so much other good stuff going on. But I really like either that or new multi strike is really good. These depend on the skill, what's going to be best for you. And if you're using like a comfier, slower AoE skill, like your earthquakes and things like that, then pulverize also looks really good too.
Yes.
I quite like that. So Dread Banner is a must-have for your pure Fizz Impale setups. It's just got Impale Chance that brings you up to 100%, and Impale Multiplier, which benefits all the other Impale investment. I really like Blood and Sand in general, but especially if you're using any of the skills that interact with it, Lacerate and Blade Storm, and the new skill Perforate as well, which is looks like it's going to be a pretty good leveling skill as well. It's got built-in situational single target or AoE clear. Otherwise, you could always use like Ground Slam, Cleave, Lacerate. Lacerate may be a little slow for leveling, but the others are pretty good. Also, and Pride, the new aura that's like more physical damage taken to nearby enemies, up to 39% more physical damage taken. That works on your impales. If you're doing a bleed build as well, it's going to work on that, and it works on all your pure physical damage. We just have so much scaling for pure fizz now, whereas before it was all about conversion. Pure fizz seems entirely legitimate in its own right now. There's heaps of stuff you can do to like transition here. You don't forget about things like maim and stuff like that. I like that new battle cry passive cluster, but if you don't like using war cries, you don't have to get that sort of stuff. But instant war cries is pretty nice. You can use the abyssal cry for the boom boom packs, or just use your rallying cry or enduring cry, whichever you prefer.
Yeah.
I really like brinkmanship for anything that's benefiting from the AoE, which is most things, but that cluster fits in very nicely. I do get Soul of Steel, just by the way.
No, it's really good.
The freedom of movement cluster, but I'm going to say just one node from that is a pretty nice pickup if you're anywhere near the right side of the tree. You can potentially, I'm kind of with you, Nugi, on the idea that maybe we don't need quite as many life nodes. I've overcompensated a little bit here with the idea that you can drop it back a little bit later on once your mitigation's looking good. And you can drop that for a duel that gives you phasing or a course flask if you prefer. But I do like just 1 point there for 10% phasing, which is enough to have phasing all the time while clearing. Quite like that. What else?
Ziggy?
Yes.
Why does your build have RT?
Why does my build have RT? Because it's not good as crit at the start.
No, but
you
there's
have
no
worthy
crit stuff
foe.
here at the start. Huh?
You have worthy foe.
Worthy foe.
Enemies taunted by you cannot evade.
Oh, I forgot about that part. You'll have to forgive me. I did forget about that part.
It happened.
I was testing like Slayer, Gladiator, Berserker, Champion for all of these for like what would be the best generalist, and eventually arrived at Champion, but I totally forgot about the RT part. Thanks. Save me 2 points.
There's
Sweet.
so much like in PoE. There's very easy to forget things.
Yeah, this was like 5 different builds all at once. Thanks for that save. Build saved. I mean, it's not like it would have hurt you exactly. Not that much, at least. Not initially. But yeah, I ultimately decided on Champion because Master of Metal's Impale stuff is very good. Adds extra Impale stacks as well as bringing you up to that 100%. Gives you some armor, gives some extra fizz damage. All the flat fizz we're getting from skills, plus the flat fizz from Master of Metal, and I think it was the Impale support or something maybe. It was one of those new supports I think was giving flat fizz. Heaps of sources of flat fizz. Your weapons feels like it's not even going to matter at all at the start, which is very nice to see. And yes, worthy foe, so enemies can't evade, and you can later transition into your choice of crit or weapon-specific clusters once you decide what you want to play. The other thing is inspiration if you like the adrenaline thing for boss killing, if boss killing is going to be a big thing for you. But I actually do really like... Sorry, that's first to strike, last to fall, where you use blood magic on an aura to bring yourself to low life to get adrenaline. It also works as a little mini cheat death proc if you're taking damage spam. If you drop to low life, it heals you 25%. It's kind of cute. I like that. But if you don't want to do that, or if boss killing is not a huge priority for you, I also like the potential here of swapping out of First to Strike into Inspirational, which gives you the free banner reservation and various other benefits for that. And I actually think Blood Magic Mortal Conviction works here too. So once you do that, you can swap into Blood Magic Mortal Conviction and be using, you get your free, what's it called? That's that new aura, Pride, the more physical multiplier or damage taken one. You can use that for free with blood magic and just go hand on the life total there and not worry about mana or anything like that. The only thing that locks you out of is using blood and sand. You can't, I don't think, use blood and sand then. So if you're using one of the skills that interacts with that, you probably don't want to go that setup. But if you're using just another general skill that's not a blood and sand specific, then blood magic I think is an option. But yeah, basically this is what I'm going to play, and then I'm going to try every single fizz skill and see what I like, and then transition into whatever I want with the idea and the confidence that this will work for any of that quite well.
Looks really solid. I like it.
Tabula rasa build.
So what builds would you expect to do well with this build?
I was thinking,
assuming the impale mechanic, just to give people an idea of what works with it.
Like, that's the thing, right? Literally anything works well with the impale mechanic as long as it's pure fizz melee. I really want it to be the case that some of the blood and sand stuff works really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping especially that Bladestorm feels nice. I kind of want to go into that.
Hmm.
I do wonder if Gladiator then might feel a little better with that, but I think Bladestorm has very solid support for a non-bleed build as well. Like it doesn't do anything specifically for bleed like Lacerate does. So I'm hoping that ends up panning out as being like one of the best skills. It looks very cool. It looks like it's got the good shoot and scoot potential as well. With it, you can move around a little bit more.
Say that
So
again.
I'm pretty keen on that. Shoot and scoot. You haven't heard that before?
No.
I think it's probably a StarCraft term. ZiggyD StarCraft.
Nice.
Yeah,
So-
but there's so much I want to play. I'm just gonna try everything, man.
Mm-hmm. It's more like whether or not you've considered, or whether you're worrying about stuff like Sunder and Earthquake, where you're trying to one-tap packs, that you might feel like you're missing out on all that, stored damage in your impales, and you can only really realize that in the end. Whether or not you think
True.
that's...
Yeah. I think in a lot of the cases it probably doesn't matter, because if you're one tapping,
Yeah.
then you don't really care about the impale stacking. Whereas the impale stacking comes in a boss when you actually want that extra damage to be leveraged. So, and I think I quite like the flexibility of the pulverized support, just being something you can throw on to change your build from a fast build to a fast skill to a slow skill. That it's enough as like support for that in a can, I think. And impale's still going to work when you need it, which is on bosses.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be one tapping bosses,
Yeah.
I see what you mean, but yeah, I think for pretty much everything, you're probably not going to matter. And then maybe it's like 2-tapping rares, and then you get your big hit of extra damage from the impale, which, impale scales linearly with it. The only issue, like you said, is when you don't get a second chance to hit, but at that point, you don't care. Dead already.
Actually, do you know, just real quick, do you know with the, the banner thing, the recovery? Oh, not the banner thing, the adrenaline? Can you spam War Banner?
I think so.
Yeah, you can use it. However, it's you only get the recovery when you gain adrenaline, and it lasts 20 seconds. So if you already have done it in 20 seconds, it won't activate.
That's not
so
true,
you can't
though.
spam it.
Because as soon as you pick up the War Banner again, the adrenaline from War Banner only lasts like 1 second.
Yeah.
So you can just
Oh,
spam
really?
your War Banner and just go like adrenaline.
For like regen.
And you keep losing it and
You
regaining it
probably-
again.
You probably can then. You could probably, and is it instant cast to place
Yeah.
the banner? I think it is. Yeah, because I do it while attacking.
It's like
yeah.
a 0.5 second cooldown or something.
Well, that's like a nearly instant 25% heal then, if so. Yeah, well, I had the original plan for First to Strike to play around with that stuff. I think Dread Banner would be pretty worth using, but honestly, it probably wouldn't be that bad if you wanted to use the other banner as well. The Adrenaline Banner instead. That's pretty interesting, though. That's it's just spammable healing with that. Yeah, true. I was looking at the 20%
Bind to mouse
from...
wheel.
Oh, God. You get banned for that, mate. Yeah, I was looking at the 20 second adrenaline, but I realized that's only from the low life First to Strike thing. Yeah.
No, I did the same thing when I looked at it, and then someone was like, "Can't you just use War Banner?" I was like, "No, Oh, right. It's like, oh, you're right, maybe. So I can't really claim that was me. That was a guy in my chat.
Did you ever play multiplayer on one computer back in the day, and you'd have like one person doing the keyboard, one person doing the mouse? Now you have one person spamming War Banner for you. Just like, okay, I'm mapping, you're spamming War Banner. Do. Can't die.
Banned for account sharing.
Well, is there anything else you want to talk about your build, Ziggy?
No, I think that basically covers it. If you guys end up doing anything similar to this and what you end up transitioning into, I'm very curious because I have no idea what I'm going to end up being out of this starting point. So I'm very curious to hear what anyone else who plays something like that ends up being, like how that ends up transitioning, what ends up feeling the best. I feel like people are going to arrive at different areas, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah.
I just love how you like have so much option to get things like phasing, taunt, intimidate. You can get just all that stuff in here. And if you're going like you're going to play Blade Flurry, you get Frenzy Endurance Charge Generation from charging offensive. Once you end up going crit, you have easy access to Dazzling Strikes for blind built in on attack. All that stuff is just super nice. So
Yeah.
not enough, man. I want everything.
Same.
Give it all.
Same, TBH. We're already a little over 2 hours, but is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
everything. Let's talk
I think I
PoE.
could talk
all
all
day.
night.
Yeah.
Nothing pressing though.
I mean, I feel like we've all. Oh yeah, there's a new
Mhm.
PoE thing that just got released. There's a
Legion.
free MTX, apparently, to celebrate the launch of Path of Exile Legion and to welcome our new Korean community. We're offering an exclusive free microtransaction when you kill the Brine King in Act 6 of the Legion Challenge League. Please play our
Whoa.
league to at least Act 6 before quitting. Forehead. I don't know. Is
Hat.
it what is it? Is it all of it or just the hat or the daggers? What is it? The hat?
I'm guessing it's the hat.
The heck?
It's kind of similar to that one hat that they're never supposed to give out again, or people would be mad. Was it the...
Reskin?
Slightly different.
Yeah, looks a little different, slightly different.
I like it. Free stuff is always good. I mean, I still want them to give it a free premium stash tab for 36 challenges or something, just as a one-time in any league.
It's a traditional Korean hat. That's awesome. Cool.
Oh.
Welcome, Korean
Oh.
buddies. I think a lot of Korean buddies were already playing PoE, but welcome even more Korean buddies.
Yeah, I've started translating all my guides to Korean and Russian and Brazilian, Portuguese.
Good
What?
idea.
Have you?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Impressive. I didn't know you knew that many languages.
I don't. I hired people.
Nice. Dang, yeah. That's above and beyond.
Try harding. Awesome. Well, I think that was pretty much all the topics and ideas we had for this podcast.
I think so.
So let's say thank you to ZiggyD for joining me and Nugi on this beautiful podcast that we have. Thank you so much. Thanks
Hell
for
yeah, dude.
waking up
Thanks,
super early.
Guys.
Thank you for
Yeah,
being
thanks
you.
for having me on. I love podcasting, and the benefit of this, as compared to me doing Exiled, is I don't have to organize everything. I can just show up.
I figured you like that.
Thanks.
I
like the podcasting action.
ZiggyD, where can we find more of you?
Well, I don't know, but it's 2019, and usually if you want to find something, you just type it into the address bar. You don't even have to go to google.com anymore, guys, if you don't know, by the way. You don't have to type google.com, then type the thing. You can just type it at the top of the address bar. Just type ZIGGYD, and then you'll find me.
Nice.
2019 technology.
It's impressive
I'm on
stuff.
Twitch and YouTube. I do the YouTube stuff. I made the shortest patch note summary video. I have the record for the shortest patch note summary video of the patch notes, by the way. So
Wait,
you can
what's
either
the-
watch
What's the total
Card's
length?
20-hour one. 9 minutes. It's under 9 minutes.
It's
8
under
minutes, something.
10 minutes?
It's under 10 minutes, bro. I didn't even go for the 10-minute
I
ad revenue.
know.
That's some dedication.
That is dedication, dude. Wow.
Literally halving my ad revenue from that.
Wow.
If you guys don't already know him, check out Ziggy, one of the best people I know. Super helpful, always been a good friend of mine. Really good content creator. And my beautiful co-host over there, Nugi. Thank you again for doing this podcast. Like, I have such a great time doing this with you. Always a good time. I love disagreeing with you. Nugi, where can we find more of you?
Well, as Ziggy so beautifully put it, go to the top of your search bar and type in NUGIYEN. And you
On
will
a new
find
tab.
me. On a new tab.
I'm spamming your chat with my video.
It comes up, did you mean Nugian? No, I'm just kidding. We'll have links in the description of the YouTube video down below to both the content creators. Both amazing people. If you're not familiar with them already, they're definitely worth watching. Amazing cornerstones of the Path of Exile community.
Oh, you. Come on, give me a hug. I don't know which direction you're in.
I'm above you. Hi.
Let me fondle. Just a little bit of a fondle
Oh.
here.
So thank you so much. And a big thank you to the most important person of all. Chat, you're beautiful. Thank you for joining us here today.
Chat.
You guys are amazing. Wouldn't be able to do without you. Let's get an easy clap in chat for chat. And a big thanks to all the moderators and everybody else that has been helping to make this possible. So the way we're going to do it now, I'm going to mute the audio of the in-game music. And then we're actually going to play the outro. We have an outro
Cool.
now.
Hey.
This I gotta see.
So this just means you guys have to be silent now. Hopefully you're
No.
already on my channel. If you're not watching this on my YouTube, if you're not watching this on Twitch, it's been stolen. Somebody's out there stealing my content. Tell me about it. Help, send help. Blink, blink, blink. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back in around 2 weeks after Legion launches. Enjoy the outro.